Gaming news today is all about strange developments. First, Battlefield 6 has continued to struggle, and now they are delaying the start of Season 2. Now, there's reasoning behind this, but what does it mean for what felt like the triumphant return for the franchise that has so quickly stumbled? Second, Josef Fares of Hazelight sat down with Chris Dring of Game Business and did an interview, and it's got some interesting takes in it on EA as well as AAA games in light of Expedition 33. We'll look at some of his comments and react. Third, there's a continued debate about PvP in Arc Raiders. It's prompted one YouTuber to argue that he has proof that PvP is very important to the game. We're going to see what he has to say and react, because I tend to agree that PvP is important, but I want to see how he argues it. Fourth, a scummy developer that I tried to warn folks about in the past is once again proving themselves to be a garbage company. They are now taking to copyright striking videos and channels who covered their recent disaster of a video game. Yes, I'm talking about Team Kill Media, the studio behind such amazing games as Quantum Error and their latest disaster, Code Violet, which I think Team Kill Media is the perfect name for their studio, by the way, because everybody hates team killers in video games, and these guys are no exception. Code Violet is currently getting universally destroyed by the reviews, and just like last time, they are handling it in the most reprehensible and unprofessional way possible. They're basically hiding it or lying or blocking, and now they're trying to copyright strike videos of people talking about it. There was some misinformation being circulated about them doing tax evasion or something like that. But we're going to look into the situation, because that's not what the copyright strike system is for. So they're essentially committing what amounts to a use of copyright claim fraud to take videos down, and I think their channel should be permanently banned from YouTube for abusing the system. Now, if you like this kind of content where we cover gaming news and all the things going on, be sure to hit like and subscribe so you don't miss out on these shows. We go live Monday through Friday. I am safe for work, and we are a fan-funded operation. So if you've been watching and listening for a very long time and you've never become a member, that is how I do this full time. So thank you to everybody who continues to be a patron of the channel, and especially all of those who stay involved in the Discord and take part in the green room at the end of every single day. Now, I want to start, though, with the Battlefield situation, because it's very, very alarming. Well, let's just cut to the chase. Battlefield 6 announced a season delay, but that's not really the interesting part. It feels more like the result of something that seems almost unbelievable. So let's just quickly look at what they said, and then I want to discuss what exactly this means for a franchise that was bouncing back. They announced that, quote, "During our ongoing development, we've continued to review community feedback, and in order to keep our promise, determined that our best path forward is to extend Season 1 and give ourselves extra time to further polish and refine Season 2. And, well, how long are you going to have to wait? This is what they say. Season 1 will be extended past its in-game end date of January the 20th, and we will launch Season 2 on February the 17th. The Season 1 extension update for Battlefield 6 and RedSec will be released on January 20th, which will include new weekly challenges, a bonus path, and a continuation of the Season 1 Battle Pass until the start of Season 2. Now, the response was pretty much what you would expect when something like this happens. Fans are upset, basically saying they have no right to claim that Season 1 was quote-unquote packed. Others are calling for RedSec to be shut down, and that the devs should just focus on the multiplayer. The logic being simple. Folks paid for content that seemingly is having direction and attention pulled away from it, and that needs to be improved and fixed first. And that seemed to be a very strong consensus in the responses that I saw. Many feel that RedSec was a surprise that nobody asked for, and that it's become a giant and unneeded distraction. And all of this is certainly disappointing for a variety of reasons. First, it's upsetting for longtime fans who felt that Battlefield was finally back. And not just back as a return to form for what everybody knows Battlefield for, but they were outselling the long-standing leader Call of Duty, even outpacing it in player base numbers. More than that, the identity of the game felt like it was well intact, with early streams and reveals being praised for looking and feeling like Battlefield. The other reason this is disappointing is, how does a game and a company this size end up so ill-prepared? We've seen small games and teams struggle to deal with explosive growth and popularity. Sometimes you have no idea that your servers are going to get overwhelmed because you thought your game was going to be minimally popular. But Battlefield doesn't really have an excuse. Many feel this is just another live service casualty, which I think has some merit. They made a solid game in many respects, but the live service aspect stretches the teams and it has them focusing things on like RedSec, bugs, ongoing content, instead of fixing things in the main game or other problems. Some have even argued in reviews that the codification or the Call of Duty-ification of the game has already started. Early feedback from fans was, hey, really please avoid all the pitfalls of Call of Duty with silly skins or bad monetization practices. But prices of a single character skin are being criticized, along with elements of FOMO, which is fear of missing out, and premium battle passes on a full-price game. The player numbers and the user scores are also hard to ignore. 71% overall, but the recent score on Steam is a 52%. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. A game that seemingly kicked the door in, jumped in front of Call of Duty in sales and initial reception, and then they've quickly tripped on their own 2 feet. And that leads to the biggest question: can they get back up? Given how much work they put into Battlefield 2042, and there were many people at the end that said it had improved quite a bit, that means that there's certainly hope for Battlefield 6. But the reality of consumer inertia and momentum is undeniable, especially when you consider that Arc Raiders is gobbling up more and more players seemingly every day. They went from record Steam numbers for Battlefield 6 with a concurrent player count close to 700,000 just on Steam alone. Now they average about 70,000 daily peak concurrents on Steam. And no, Steam charts are not the be-all end-all. Battlefield traditionally is also very popular on console, but the Steam charts are a barometer of interest and re-engagement. And when you see that many people jumping in and then that many people quickly leaving, it certainly is a worrying sign. It can be a very rough trajectory to correct from, to attempt to recover from. And sadly, it looks like the first way to achieve this is by delaying a season. Now let's just hope for fans of the game it's a good start and it's not the beginning of the end. But those are just my thoughts. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Where do you see Battlefield going? Did you feel like, man, this thing was finally back and now it's sort of not in a great state? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below or make sure you're here for one of the live streams, which we are going to discuss this right now, along with many other things going on in gaming news. I think this one was a bit of a shock for people because everyone felt like, man, they're back. You know, Battlefield really sort of put itself back on the map again after some missteps with 2042 and some concern from people that they had kind of lost their way. Now all of a sudden it's like, well, we're going to have to delay the season. More than delay the season, their user score is way down. Their player numbers are way down. And yes, there was the accident where Vince passed away. That probably has something to do with the delay as well. But I would say the consumer reception and the player feedback is incredibly strong. I mean, there's an undeniable amount of negativity right now within the player pool. The people that were responding on Reddit, the Steam score, all to me makes it very clear, like, this game is got some people that are pretty upset. And I think sometimes, especially when the narrative is, is that you're having a bounce back, I think players are probably a little bit more judgmental. It's like, well, you got us all back in here. We were all really excited. We bought the game. We thought things were going to go in the good direction. And now we sit here with a game that has problems, and people really do feel like the RedSec issue, they feel like that is part of the issue. They feel like that has become a bit of a distraction. It's hard not to see it that way. It's like, why on earth did they decide to do that if they were really wanting to put Battlefield back on the map? I feel like part of it was wanting to sort of do the Warzone thing. Like, you've got your core game, and then you've got your Battle Royale as well, because there's different types of players with different types of preferences. So Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, guys. Make sure you're hitting the like button. I've got some people to thank already. Let me get the goal up here for y'all to see. Let's reset the daily contest between YouTube and Purple. And kicking it with Timmy B's got a VIP renewal. And then Raphael with 20 months in a VIP says, thank you for all the content. Outstanding job. I appreciate that so much. Y'all's continued support with VIPs, member pluses, your primes, your gifts, all of it is how we're able to do this every day. If you're not able to support the stream monetarily, just make sure you're here every day listening, lurking, and liking. That is how streams like this survive. Member Plus from Cisco with 38 months. I accidentally clicked on the purple noti. Gross. Well, let's make sure we keep the lead there for YouTube then. There we go. I think the issue is people feel it's more of a Call of Duty copy. New month on Twitch. Check your prime, says Wired Rope, as he bumps the line with his own prime for 13 months of support over there on Purple. Thank you so much. I don't know how you can get away from not just sort of feeling like Call of Duty when if you're going to do a first-person shooter battle royale and you're going to be sort of in like the modern military setting. I don't know. I don't know how you're not going to end up feeling that way. I think Battlefield's big differential in their identity is the vehicles and the destructible environments, but I also think it's the game modes. I think that was one thing that you were going to really struggle to see that kind of transcend and be properly contextualized within a battle royale. I think you're always going to end up with this sort of COD feeling vibe if you're going like modern military weaponry. You know, you're in cities or suburbs or wherever you put them. I mean, that's just what it's going to end up feeling like. I don't know how you really differentiate it. And that's one of the biggest problems right now in general is that if you're already playing a game, if you're already playing, you know, Warzone, and you try RedSec and it really doesn't do it for you, I mean, you're probably going to go somewhere else. New glasses. I've got so many frames from Gamer Advantage. I just get into like a frame rut and I just stay in the same frames. I've had these for forever. And I just don't wear them all that often because they're heavy and that they can sometimes give me a headache. But I decided to bust them back out. Madam likes these ones, so I decided to bust them out. I'm just joining in. Are we talking about Battlefield 6 BR? Well, they delayed their season, and a lot of the response from the community seems to be that Battlefield's RedSec is become a big distraction. Basically, what I gathered from all the responses I read, everybody was kind of saying the same thing. They were like, this was a big surprise that nobody asked for. Alex says, watch your mouth over there, YouTube. Well, I mean, we'll see if they can't get us back on track here. We need to end the day around 300, to be on pace for the week. They said, remind me of those 80s frames. Yeah, they're like an older style for sure. If I had like on like a button up and like a real thin mustache, you know what I'm saying? I'd have like that picture at the post office look. Imagine you're at number 1 to find out you have to play for another month. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Maps could be bigger, but the reaction is overblown. So when you say the reaction is overblown, are you saying the reaction to the delay of the season, or are you saying the reaction to RedSec? Because I could completely understand like a long-standing Battlefield fan being like, we don't need BR. We've got big maps, we've got big modes, you've got vehicles and these huge destructible environments and these massive buildings. We don't need a battle royale. I could see a Battlefield fan not really understanding that direction. Putting a BR mode in 2025, let's ask Splitgate how that worked out. Here, let me get off of Top Chat. I'm on Top Chat. There we go. And a membership renewal from Alex. You watch your mouth over here. He says, also hit the like button. So Alex is coming over to YouTube to tell you guys to hit that like button. Get us that first 100. I appreciate you guys being here so much. Gaming news is a little slow, but we've got plenty of things to talk about, and it'll start heating up. I mean, we've got a Resident Evil event tomorrow. You got the Developer Direct next week with Xbox. We're starting to feel that momentum pick up. Most of the things Battlefield 6 superfans are complaining about are non-issues. I'm really kind of curious where you're coming from on this, Yanadid. The stream score is terrible. The player numbers dropped like a rock, but you're saying that what they're complaining about are non-issues. So you think the game's fine? You think that there's no problems? I don't understand. The consensus seems to be pretty not great for the game right now. New generation of complainers. Misery loves company. So you think everybody got together and simultaneously decided to start complaining and leaving bad Steam reviews and stop playing the game? I mean, they had almost 700,000 concurrents, and now they can barely top 70,000. And then, well, Steam's not the primary platform, whatever. Like, Steam is a barometer. They skyrocketed and then fell almost completely off, like right away. It didn't take any time at all. Wire wrote with 35 months on American Plus. Look at this monstrosity of a chat box, and he renews his YouTube. Thank you so much. Let's add to the total. Thank you so much. Yeah, it finally showed up. The Ghost of Yote shirt finally showed up. It said it was from Bungie. I was like, my wife's like, Bungie sent you something? I was like, I don't think so. It said it was from Bungie. I don't know if they're helping with fulfillment of merch or something for PlayStation. I don't know. Gamers complain about everything. Impossible to keep happy. Game is good. So why would you think that that's the reason? And so why are people having a great time in Arc Raiders and leaving great scores for Arc Raiders? If gamers just want something to complain about and they're never happy, wouldn't that mean that, like, basically no game can do well? I don't know. That just sounds like you're just dismissing people's complaints and criticisms that are pretty universal. Like, there doesn't seem to be a lot of praise for the game right now. Dad of Dads with the Prime in 41 months over there on Purple. Thank you so much. Let me add that one to the total. Oops, I added the wrong one for Angry Pete. Twitch should have 3. My bad. It's 5-3 right now. Like, I don't understand. Are games that are getting praised and high engagement numbers, what are they, just lucky? Like, I don't understand. Don't Bungie absolutely suck at getting people their purchases? I mean, I ordered this a long time ago. I feel like I ordered this in September. I don't know. You had to sync it with your PlayStation account. In order to get this, I think you had to have beat Tsushima, I believe. Battlefield 6 had 2 weeks from me, says Butters. The game is good, but OMG, they continue to lack content after release. They also have big maps, but they are either wide open or not actually big maps. Yo, what's good? How are you, Paranoid Merlin? Welcome on in. Welcome on in, boys. Make sure you guys are hitting the like button on YouTube, and make sure you're checking your renewals. RedSec doesn't have an impact in the normal Battlefield 6 experience. Okay, I don't think anybody was arguing that. I think they were arguing that that's a giant distraction. Like, instead of focusing on that, they should be, like, think about the complaint that there's, like, a lack of content. All the work that went into RedSec could have gone into the base game of Battlefield 6. It could have gone into the base ongoing modes or content or anything. And instead, they've got people working on RedSec. They got people building the maps, the mechanics, the entire thing, server infrastructure. All the work that went into RedSec could have gone into the main game. Team kill in the title, Purple Lights. Purple can also be referred to as Violet, Code Violet. Coincidence? I think not. No, yeah, we'll talk about it. Yo, thank you for the streak over there, Paranoid. I appreciate that, man. 3-stream streak. People are leaving bad Steam reviews because RedSec exists, not because it's having an impact on their gameplay. So, okay, let's just take a look here and let's just test your theory. All right? So, you are putting forward the theory that a game that has had this much of a drop-off in its player numbers, as well as a dropping Steam score. So you think they're up in the 500,000 and 600,000s. So from mid-October to early November, look at this. They're maintaining good numbers, and then it just falls. So you think this level of decline in player numbers, along with review scores, you think is people that are just angry about RedSec. So they're going and leaving bad reviews. So if I go and read reviews of Battlefield 6 on Steam right now, that'll be the theme. Is that it's just people complaining about RedSec. That's what you're telling me. I have a really hard time believing that that's what's going on here. The player base numbers have clearly declined for some reason, some kind of a reason. Now, whether or not people got their fill and moved on, they went back to Call of Duty. They're playing Arc Raiders. I don't know. Ubisoft started uploading Assassin's Creed Black Flag music to YouTube. Looks like an announcement may be coming soon. It's happening, guys. It's the worst kept secret. That's a hard drop of players. I'm on the Battlefield 6 Reddit daily, and I'm seeing what people complain about. Yo, Biggie, thank you so... Oh, we got a couple of people over here. Good morning, Ganks over there on Twitch. A Prime from Cisco Nabisco says, eat my shorts purple. And then Biggie Smalls with a Prime for 7 months. Let me add those two. It's now officially tied between YouTube and Purple. We are exactly 10 away from 150. This is a perfect time to snipe that milestone. We are continuing to have that contest between two platforms. Biggie Smalls with 32 months as well on YouTube. The man is double dipping, and I appreciate it very, very much. Somebody replying to Team Kill Media says, I can't get platinum because the crafty trophy is not popping up. Had at least. Oh, and it looks like Alex is going to steal it for Team Purple. It's also going to be an agent of chaos and get us to 151. The first gift of the day goes to Purple. Thank you so much, Alex. We need a big bounce back on Twitch. We took that week off, and boy, oh boy, that hurt us. We need those points to go back up. And I appreciate you guys making sure that happens. Let me go ahead and just pay up. I think I can do it in this window. Yeah? There it is. I can. It's also the number 2 best horror game. I don't think that's the achievement that they think it is. The situation with that game is hysterical. It truly is hysterical. I tried to tell people that they were a garbage company. I tried. You know what I mean? Stellar Blade sells 6 million copies according to Sensor Tower data, almost 4 million on PlayStation, and then a little over 2 million on Steam. There you go. Yo, good morning, Recon Spades. How are you? Should you make the background violet for today? I did. That's purple. I didn't do it for them. I just did it to change it up, change up the scenery, change up the colors, change up the thumbnail, that kind of a thing, you know? I think Battlefield 6 attracted a lot of us older gamers back to a PvP game. I had a blast for a few weeks, but eventually I couldn't take all the PvP. Also, Arc Raiders stole my attention. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I could see people totally feeling like, yeah, I had fun. Battlefield's great. And then they just go right back to whatever they typically play, whether it's Warzone or maybe, again, you got into Arc Raiders. Let's see here. A live discussion. I'm going to pin a comment on this poll that I put up, and obviously this is not conclusive, but I said, hey y'all, which game are you spending the most time in? Now listen, y'all, when you see a poll like this, all right, I'm just going to help you guys out a little bit, and I'm just going to give you guys some assistance. Okay, this is just lessons in deduction. Okay, when the question says which game have you spent the most time in, and I've got 3 games that are at some level adjacent to each other, I'm trying to figure out, if people are playing these games, which one they're spending more time in, okay? A lot of you guys were like, none of these. None of these. I'm not playing any of these. I'm playing something else. And I love you, and I love those comments. And I appreciate you doing that. But I'm just here to tell you, the reason that somebody asked, like, why are there more games on the poll? I was like, I'm just trying... I'm just trying to see, of these 3, if you are playing any of them, which one are you spending more time in? And obviously Black Ops is at the very, very bottom there. But it's hard not to think that out of 1,000 votes, Arc Raiders being such a majority, it's hard not to think that this could be playing a role as well. This could be playing a role. Because we know these are social games. We know that the way that people play these games, they kind of go where their friends are going. They kind of go and play where their friends are playing, right? And I think that it's not uncommon for people to be like, well, my boys were playing Battlefield, but now they're playing Arc Raiders, so I'm going to go and play with them. It tends to sort of spread, like a virus. And not in a bad way, but that's just kind of the way that it goes. 200 hours in Arc. The problem with Battlefield 6 is the progression and the lack of map variety. Honest, vehicles only feel viable in 2 maps, and one of those isn't a launch map, says Adam. Yeah, I mean, I think in general, a game like this, a game like Battlefield, I think at some level is struggling for the same reasons that, an arena shooter might struggle. I think after a while you're like, yeah, I've kind of done it all. You see? It's like it's not the same as an arena shooter. Certainly not. Size and scope of the game is, completely different. Significantly more things to do. Let's make sure. Oh, yeah, the other camera's working today. I forgot to turn it on yesterday. There's more to do. That's undeniable. Way more to do, way more to see. It's not this rote and rehearsed, meat grinder of an arena shooter. But I do wonder if you're facing the same problem. Like, yeah, after a couple of weeks, you've just kind of had enough. You're like, yeah, that was fun, And I think that the Arc Raiders experience or a tried and true Battle Royale experience, if you've been playing a lot of another Battle Royale, you're just going to kind of go back home. Zubair says, my brother-in-law said something like that. He was living in Battlefield 6, but a lot of his friends have been playing other things. Right. That's another thing. How dare Lono not put Octopath Traveler 0 on a poll for PvP games? Clearly ignoring his audience, me. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. I was like, hey, y'all, I was just trying to see, these games in particular, where are you guys spending most of your time? Friends have moved on after playing a lot, for sure. Hello, Loot. Hey, Siege Master, bumping the line to 152. Thank you so much for doing that. Right, and if you think about it, Battlefield especially, if your buddies move on, I wouldn't be surprised if that's a really strong incentive for you to move on also, because it's a squad-based game. That was the number one piece of feedback I got the day that I played. People were like, well, you're really supposed to get into a squad and you're supposed to communicate. And I'm like, so what you're telling me is, and Siege Master kicks off the day for YouTube with the first member bomb over there, 5 members. We had a 10 bomb from Alex on Purple, and now we got a 5 from Siege on YouTube. Let's have a big day, y'all. Make sure you're hitting the like button. If you're lurking, make sure you say good morning to everybody and hit like before you go to your lurk. When it first dropped, I played for a day or two, and that was it. Well, I mean, I'm going back to my experience. And people were like, yeah, Lono, you really can't play the game solo, or you can't play the game with minimal communication. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's on me. I could be playing the game in a way that's somewhat divergent. Well, if you can't play by yourself with minimal communication and have a great time, and your buddies kind of move on, then you might feel a strong incentive to go play something else. Lurk, work. Thank you so much, Mikey Bot. Appreciate all you lurkers out there. So yeah, I think the social aspect of Battlefield is potentially playing a role as well. Like, hey man, people moved on. They got bored. They went and started playing Arc Raiders. Well, now I don't have anybody to talk to and squad up with. So that's going to, that'll deteriorate your player pool pretty quickly if people are kind of feeling like, well, if my buddies move on, why would I continue to play? I play solo with music playing. You can play however you want. Yannon, I'm going to tell you something. You sound like Defense Force, brother. Everything I've said today, you have a response to. I find it difficult to think that nothing I'm saying is even remotely close to a target. Like everything we're saying, like, oh, people are only downvoting it because they don't like RedSec. The game is fine and everybody just wants to complain, and you can totally play solo and have a great time. Even though when I played it 2 different days in a row, people kept saying, this is not a game that is really designed for solo play. You want to be in a squad and communicating with people, and if you're not, you can have a bad time. Like, read my last couple. You're just sounding real Defense Force about it. Like, it's fine that you're having a fine time, but you're acting like every criticism is illegitimate. People on Reddit spend all day complaining about the UI. Oh, I already read that. Even when I play Battlefield, I only play for an hour or 2 max. That don't make it bad. Arc Raiders is more popular. That don't make other games bad. Arc Raiders is more casual. Right, but homie, you're shadowboxing a little bit. I don't think anybody this morning argued that the existence of Arc Raiders makes Battlefield bad. Like, nobody said that. I didn't see anybody say that. I'm certainly not saying that. If somebody tried to argue that point, that you'd be exactly right to say what you're saying. A single gifted comes in from Joker Quinn. Thank you so much. You would be exactly right to say, listen, Arc Raiders doesn't make Battlefield bad. I don't think anybody was saying that Arc Raiders makes it bad. Before that, homie, this isn't your chat. You want me to read your entire damn chat log just so we can have a frickin' discussion, brother? I read people on Reddit spend all day complaining about the UI, RedSec, and AI. Even when I play Battlefield, I only play for 2 hours. Arc Raiders is more popular. That doesn't make games bad. Arc Raiders is way more casual. The Arc Raiders appeals to more people. It's casual. I play solo with music playing. Homie, I read everything you wrote for the last 10 minutes. What do you want me to do, man? I don't understand what you're saying to me. I just read your entire chat log, brother. Was this your chat this morning all of a sudden? I said that when you pulled up the poll. I just read your whole chat log, my man. I'm trying to have a conversation with you, and you sound like Defense Force. You're just, everything people are saying, you're like, well, they're only complaining about this, they're only complaining about this. Come on, man. There's clearly something that happened. You know, like, I'm saying it with a smile on my face. Like, I'm not mad at you. Like, come on, brother. Like, clearly something happened. The player base numbers dropped. The score has dropped. It can't be that, like, the game is fine and there's no problems. Like, I said vehicles were bad and there were hit reg issues. Okay, listen. Okay, so you're conceding there's some issues. Vehicles are bad, hit reg issues. Right. I don't think that's enough to cause this, though. They're delaying the season. They themselves are admitting that they've got stuff to work on and they got to deal with community feedback. So I would feel like there's got to be something more maybe systemic than just some issues with hit reg and vehicles. Now, vehicles is probably a pretty big complaint because that's like one of the parts of the identity of the game, right? The maps are no good. Okay, now we're getting somewhere, okay? Now we're getting somewhere. So again, that's part and parcel to the identity of the game. Having vehicles and really, really awesome destructible maps where you feel like you're really impacting what's going on. And you're telling me the complaints about the vehicles and the maps are legitimate. Man, that feels like a pretty strong reason for the Battlefield community to be like, man, this ain't it. This ain't it. This was fun for a couple of days, but there's a lot of problems here. I mean, I remember when I played, it was early access or a demo or something, or did we get in a couple days early? That one map was terrible. Like, they literally would spawn you, you'd see 3 sniper glints, and you'd be dead 2 seconds later. And people are like, you gotta run. And I'm like, run? What? As soon as you spawn, you're just like, running? Like, come on. Maps are too small. Jack Frags had mentioned the lack of the new maps for Battlefield 6. I don't personally play any, just going off of that. Battlefielded, says Creature. He says here, they jump on the Call of Duty. Oh, they jump out on COD, get a huge lead, and then they froze up like a dog chasing a car. They didn't know what they do. Okay, listen, this is what I'm going to tell you I think happened. I think the people complaining about RedSec are onto something. I think they stretched themselves too thin. That's my assessment from 30,000 feet. From the outside looking in, I played for a little bit, not really my jam. I'm looking at community feedback. I'm looking at player trends. I'm looking at what you're saying. Even Yanadid, somebody who's like, hey, I'm having a good time. Even he's being critical of the game this morning, okay? He made me read all of his chat logs before he would say anything. I'm just kidding. You know, so I'm looking from the outside in, and I'm saying this to me sounds like they stretched themselves too thin, which I think gives credence to the RedSec criticism. It's a separate studio. So they didn't carve off any people from the Battlefield team for RedSec. How do we know that? So internally, you're saying completely different studio, or is it a different team? Do you feel where I'm going with this? Like, did they hire, outsource another studio, or did they carve people off for RedSec? That would be helpful information within the realm of what people are saying here, because to me it sounds like they bit off more than they could chew. They're spread too thin. You got this huge lead, and now people are complaining about a lack of content. Maps aren't good, vehicles aren't good. I'm like, those are literally central tenets of Battlefield. How'd you get those things wrong? Maps were huge in 2042, and it was trash. Yeah, I don't necessarily think it's a size thing. I think it comes down to design. I remember playing the one game, and even hardcore Battlefield fans were like, man, this map is designed poorly. You're literally spawning out in the open, and people that take the mountainside are just literally sniper glint, hard scoping spawns. like, how do you make that mistake after all these years designing maps? That's like, I don't know. That feels like a rookie mistake to me. That feels like a rookie mistake. What are you doing? A fan-made map would know not to do that. Yeah, a fan could make a map that isn't going to do that. Why would you put spawns out in front like that? All you got to do is get the mountain and then just watch people spawn. That seems like a rookie mistake. I don't necessarily think it's a size thing. That to me, from Jump Street, tells me who's working on your maps over there. Corey says the Battlefield hardcore have been actively trying to push out COD streamers and COD players. RedSec is where those people are coming into Battlefield 6, and the Battlefield 6 hardcore want to force them out by shutting down RedSec. DICE did the multiplayer. Ripple did RedSec. Okay, Battlefield RedSec was developed by Battlefield Studios, a collective including DICE, Criterion, and Ripple. Now, come on now. That sounds like I said, like they spread themselves too thin. If you've got everybody focused on Battlefield, all hands on deck, map design, vehicles, whatever, if everybody's focused on that, how do you have a lack of content? If you're going to go live service, listen, I think this is also a fair assessment that I saw some people making. They're like, this is what happens when you go for that live service dollar. You just have to keep chugging content out. You just have to keep pushing it out there, and you got to keep people satiated, keep people excited, keep people happy, keep people interested. Ripple Effect Studios was DICE LA renamed. I don't think we have enough evidence to say spread themselves too thin. I would say that's not the only factor, but that feels like a factor. It does. It feels like a factor. It's like how you guys literally nailed the vibe, and then the follow through has been very, very disappointing from what we can tell. Maps are too small for vehicles. You can sit deep in spawns and not die because the AA protects you, the anti-air protects you from all incoming missiles. This is an interesting, the fact that everybody's kind of saying the same thing, this is interesting to me, because that was the one thing that people kept saying when we were watching that one stream and we were watching people play. Everyone's like, this looks and feels like Battlefield again, right? How quickly that veneer can just chip and fade when people start to realize you can go here, you can do this, you can do that, Like, they basically strip your game down to its raw parts, and people realize map design's terrible, vehicles have no purpose, the agency on the map is terrible, player volition's very limited. Like, all those things rise to the surface. It's crazy to me to think they flew so high in those early days. Like, that was the general consensus from everybody. Even somebody like me, I was like, this feels like the Battlefield I played with my boys back in the day. Looks and feels like it. But I quickly said what y'all are saying. I was like, some of these maps don't make much sense to me. Like, I feel like I'm just being funneled and it's a turkey shoot. It didn't feel like it was designed with cohesion. And people kept saying, well, you got to play with other people. You got to play with other people. You know, you got to play with other people and communicate. It's a squad-based game. And I'm like, man, if you can't boot up in solo queue and have a good time, whoo, that's a hard sell for a lot of the player base. If the maps were designed well and actually impactful through the player's experience, then no one would care, and they would be saying there isn't enough content. It just makes the game stale. People complaining about not enough content is probably the best complaint you could get, because it means people are interested and it means they want to keep playing. If folks are saying your map design's bad or vehicles aren't good and they're having a bad time, yeah, that's a different scenario altogether. Because that means they're getting annoyed, mad, bored, what have you, and they're going to walk. I played a few games, I got my nostalgia, and I dipped, says Alex. The people working on RedSec could be doing a lot more work for Battlefield if they weren't wasting time on RedSec. A lot of people think that. I believe the Season 2 delay is mostly because of Vince Campella passing. You know, if that's one of the main reasons why, I kind of respect the studio not mentioning that, because I think that would be in poor taste to use the tragedy of what happened as, like, you know, plot armor, I guess. Like, internally they're like, listen, this completely put us in a tailspin. You probably had people that needed to take some time away if they were close to him, and that probably affected morale, and that probably affected workflow. And I actually kind of respect the fact that they made no mention of that, because that would be a really, really easy way to be like, listen, man, we got thrown a bit of a curveball here. This tragedy happened. This guy died, and we're trying to get this content on time. You know, if they're taking that one on the chin and being like, it's on us, you know, we need more time, I kind of respect that. Because you don't want to leverage that as your reason, even if it is part of the reason or one of the main reasons. I like that they didn't say anything about it. The core gameplay is super solid. Oh, I don't disagree with that. I hadn't played Battlefield in an age. I fell out with that. Now, somebody's putting something in chat. Rise Jones says FPS burnout. I don't know. I think sometimes, do you guys ever do this? This could be bias. Do you guys ever stop playing something, or you stop watching something, and your presumption is that, yeah, nobody's playing that anymore just because you stopped? Like, you and your boys stop playing something, and you'll catch yourself saying, like, yeah, nobody's playing that game anymore, even though it's probably not true, right? You guys fall out with Warzone or something. You know, plenty of people are still playing. It hasn't been vacated, and yet you say that. So I readily admit this could be my bias, but I feel like the FPS fatigue is spreading. I feel like it's spreading. More and more people are just like, FPS games, I feel like it's really hard to get people excited about an FPS game. I've covered showcases, and I've covered trailer reactions, E3, Game Awards, Xbox, all these things over the years, over a decade of coverage. And right now, I feel like when a first-person shooter game shows up, it's when more and more people are just kind of shrugging. They're not like antagonistic. They're not negative. They're just like, yeah, blah, blah. Like, there's like a fatigue with first-person shooters. And I don't want to project my own bias onto the community. Are you talking about main character syndrome? Or here it would be ensemble cast syndrome. Something like that. Yeah, it's some kind of version of main character syndrome where you're like, well, me and my boys stopped playing, so nobody's playing anymore. I feel that way about FPS games. I feel like, man, am I fatigued. Man, I can't get excited for these games. And I feel like more and more people are feeling that way. They just all start to blend together. You're like, that one's got tanks. That one's got laser guns. Okay, well, that's got zombies. Oh, that one's got, spaceships. You're just like, who the frick cares? I felt that way about halfway through Borderlands. I was like, it's me. It's not the game's fault. It's me. Now, there were criticisms of Borderlands for sure, like map design, open world design, all of that. There were valid criticisms to make. But I was like, this is a me problem. I just don't like first-person shooters to the degree that I used to. I can't bring myself to play the Battlefield campaign. I don't feel a draw to it at all. And I know I'd probably have a pretty good time with it. Relevant clip. What's this? What we got? Oh, I love Black Hokage. What's he saying here? What's he saying? This guy, if you guys don't know who Black Hokage is, this guy, his takes are usually so solid, and his production quality is excellent. It did that thing again where it changed my my audio input. Hang on one second. Open volume mixer. Output device. Speakers. Okay, here we go. He's dealing with somebody saying gaming's dead. All right, let's listen to what he's gonna say.
From Tarzaned, is gaming dead? I'm not really into shooters, i.e. Arc Raiders, Escape from Tarkov, etc. But it genuinely feels like games aren't made the way they were a decade ago. Outside of League, I haven't found anything I can log into daily and I still feel satisfied by. This tweet told me everything I needed to know about you.
The music just brings the whole thing together. It really does.
He talked about how we need to get back to gatekeeping in gaming. The space has been invaded by a lot of frauds who only like one particular thing, but feel the need to comment on the culture. You are not of the culture. You are a League of Legends fan. And I think the most disappointing thing about this shit, it was like, who the fuck is this? It's a content creator.
Sorry about that. I forgot. Black Hokage is not safe for work, y'all. You're going to want to turn the volume down and put your headphones on.
He's a Twitch streamer with almost 100,000 followers. You have influence. And then all you got to do once you get on this website is just take a look at the different categories, look at all these different categories. Pick one. You don't even got to do Game of the Year. You could do best performance if you want to, best game direction, best ongoing game. That's what you like anyway, live.
I mean, if you do best performance, it's mostly Expedition 33, though. So, you guys, you know what I'm saying? Come on now, that's mostly Expedition 33. I mean, you know, he quickly switched to the other categories. It's like, yeah, it's like about 3 out of the 5 are Expedition 33. Raphael, thank you for gifting a member.
Service slot, best action game. Pick a category, go through them all. Look at it. You can't find one game that you're interested in. I hate to break it to you, but I don't think you like games. And we need to start calling this shit out because these people are detrimental. And I think, truthfully,
you guys are telling me that's a diss track, Lono. It's called Ether. Or is it Ether? It's probably Ether. Ether by Nas. Off of Stillmatic when he was beefing with Jay-Z. I mean, I don't partake in that music historically, but it's so good, whatever it is. That makes sense.
Their influence harms people because he's keeping his influential audience from critically thinking about other things. You might be missing out on a piece of art that you genuinely enjoy because you got somebody just blindly following this dude, bruh.
Well, I love that he made it about critical thinking, right? I love that he made it about critical thinking. To me, yeah, because I agree, gatekeeping is probably not the right word to use. Like, I get what he's saying, but gatekeeping sounds like something else, and it typically takes on a completely different, it takes on a different form, I'll say. So, yeah, I kind of agree with what he's saying, though. It's about critical thinking. Like, if you're going to tell people, and I said this last year. I said, listen, there's no way you golly, what the frick was that? I need to mute all sounds on my, Gee, that scared me. If you're trying to say that, like, gaming is dead and that, like, gaming is boring or you can't find anything to play, I'm always been confused by that. I said last year that narrative was going to die. I was like, there's no way that narrative is gonna stay alive. There's no way. I gotta mute all sounds here on this rig. I don't know why it did that. I was trying to turn it up. Sound settings. Where do you do that? That's freaking annoying. I can't stand when my computer makes a sound. Like, what is, like, 1999? Am I going to have, like, a freaking stupid, like, Windows default, no sounds, apply. Okay, there we go. We're good. Sorry about that, y'all. I'm not trying to make anybody wet themselves at 10 o'clock in the morning on a freaking Wednesday. But yeah, like, the idea that, like, oh, gaming is dead, there's nothing to play. Oh, that's why he was so quiet. I was like, man, why is it so quiet? I had to push the gain on this. I was like, man, this is a quiet. Is that a recent post of his? I've heard this clip from Hokage. I've heard this before. I've been watching his content lately, and like I saw this in one of his videos. He's basically saying that if all you play is one game, you can't come out here and start commenting on like the state of gaming. Now, I've had people come at me and they're like, well, you didn't play that game, you can't talk about it. Like when I was talking about Baldur's Gate 3 or Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I think that's a form of gatekeeping that doesn't make any sense. You can talk about the quality or the lack of quality in something by simply looking at player reception, player feedback, review scores, etc. Like if you're going to talk about a game that you haven't played, there is ample amount of information out there to say that game is excellent, it's going to get a bunch of awards, or that game is bad, everybody's criticizing it's really glitchy and buggy. Like you don't have to play Code Violet to know it's a pile of crap. You don't have to play Baldur's Gate 3 to know it's a legendary game. That level of gatekeeping is something people do just because they're haters, right? They're just trying to find a way to like delegitimize somebody's opinion. That's not the same as somebody speaking broadly about gaming itself. That's completely different. If all you do is live in League, all you do is live in Call of Duty, and you want to talk about the state of gaming, it's like, have you played any of the Game of the Year nominations? Have you? Because if you haven't, how could you possibly know? If your tastes are super narrow. One of the best things I ever did, I stopped playing a live service game. That's one of the best things I ever did. Why is this a live stream fail? Live stream fail is basically a place where viral clips go. You don't necessarily have to be a fail to show up on LSF. So he shows up on LSF all the time probably. Guys like this show up because he says something that people start to kind of vibe with and think is right or the truth, and then it'll get a bunch of updates. I think gatekeeping that's like you can't talk about anything unless you've played it all the way to credits or gotten a platinum. I think that's gatekeeping by like weird sycophants that like want to attack other gamers or they want to attack other content creators. I get that all the time. I roll credits on 25 games last year, but because I didn't roll credits on Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, people were constantly trying to delegitimize my opinion that it was a more robust RPG and had far more deeper and better RPG systems than Expedition 33. Well, they'll try to delegitimize the opinion, like, well, yeah, but you didn't play it to completion. I didn't need to play Baldur's Gate 3 either to know that it offered unparalleled freedom within an RPG. That level of commentary is easy to make when you do your research. That's not what he's talking about. He's not talking about gatekeeping where like, hey, you can't talk about a game unless you played it all the way to the end. No. He's saying if you literally live in one game, one or two games, and you want to talk about gaming as a whole, and you haven't played Expedition 33, you didn't touch Donkey Kong, you didn't play Arc Raiders, like, and a lot of these guys now have moved on to Arc Raiders, but like, there were so many big games last year that people missed out on because they're living in their live service games. Like, I put 200 hours into Returnal. I recently rolled credits on Control, and I can't stop playing Control. I'm doing all of the extra stuff now. It's fantastic. Fantastic game, right? So it's like, if you're going to talk about the state of gaming, and yet you're limiting your scope of gaming to that degree, that I think is a fair form of gatekeeping. Like, if I sat here and tried to talk gaming with you guys, and all I played last year was Returnal, if I didn't touch anything else, if I didn't roll credits on Expedition 33, or I'm trying to think of all the games I rolled credits on last year, because there's like 25. I have like a list of games. If I wouldn't have done that, you guys would have every right to be like, you don't know what you're talking about, Lono. You didn't play any of the games that came out this year, right? Games I finished. Okay, so if I wouldn't have touched Nine Souls, Tales of Iron 2, Ender Magnolia, Split Fiction, Death Stranding 2, The Midnight Walk, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Doom the Dark Ages, First Berserker Kazan, Shinobi, Revenge of the Savage Planet, Ghosts of Yote, Blueprints, Arc Raiders, Borderlands 4, Donkey Kong, Ball Pit. That is a pretty broad spectrum of games that I rolled credits on. Anybody calling me a fraud or telling you guys that I don't play games, they're not representing reality at all. That's just me rapidly reading through the games that came out last year that I beat. I didn't even include the backlog games from previous years. That gives you a broad spectrum of experience to talk about gaming from a perspective of like, this is everything that's coming out. And if I was still in Destiny, if I was still living in Destiny, ain't no way I would have rolled credits on 25 games last year. There's no way I would have been able to do it. My experience was more narrow back then. I would struggle to finish games. I would struggle to put time into games because I had to live in Destiny. And I feel like so many people are in the space talking about gaming from the perspective of, well, I live inside of one game and nothing else is really coming out that's grabbing my attention because, you know, they either don't play them or they play them for, you know, an hour and they're like, yeah, this isn't for me, because your tastes are so shaped by that. They're so shaped by that. Yeah, Ball Pit was sick. I put so many hours into Ball Pit. It was so fun. I want to hear the rest of the clip. Again, this is not a safe for work clip.
So I think the solution is, if you genuinely feel like gaming is dead, if you wanted to be serious about the conversation, the way you present this tweet is, I feel like gaming's not in a good space, but I could be wrong. Does anybody have any recommendations for me? You would have had mad people replying below. Yo, give this, what do you like? Also, it would help if you state that. What do you like? Right now, the only thing we know is you like League of Legends, which are...
By the way, am I going to get a copyright claim on this segment? Does he get hit with copyright for using that? I've listened to a ton of his music, and it's I'm sorry, a ton of his clips, and it's never muted. Like, can you just literally use the hook and not get hit?
Already makes your opinion null and void. Guys, League of Legends came out in 2009, which was 17 years ago. This man got on Bardoc's internet and admitted that he logs into a 17-year-old game daily. Daily. Which, by the way, League of Legends has a top 5 most toxic community in the gaming space. And you log into that daily and then have the nerve to say gaming is dead? I don't understand this shit, bruh. I don't understand this shit. Just completely dismissing single-player games. If you have no passion for that, you can't find a multiplayer game you want to play, I think the solution is go find something else to do. Stop bitching, bruh.
I said something similar recently. I feel like there's two things that have happened, okay? There are the people that just live in a live service game, and they need to take a break, okay? They need to touch grass, but they need to touch grass in video games, right? Go touch grass in Ghosts of Yote. Go touch grass in Expedition 33. Go touch grass in Arc Raiders. Go touch grass in anything that came out last year that was praised for its artistry, its creativity, whatever, its performance. Go touch grass in Dead Take, okay? So many creative games came out last year. And if you're not doing that, you're going to keep thinking that everything is narrow, sucks, or is no good. So I think there's kind of the live service guys. I also think there's another breed of gamer. And I think there's a breed of gamer that they're not a gamer anymore. I think they have either gotten to a place where they get more fulfillment, they get more dopamine rush out of hating and complaining and living on Twitter and living on Reddit and living in the comment sections of YouTube. That's where they get the dopamine rush. That's where they get the sense of fulfillment and the sense of excitement. They call everything cringe, lame. They call people names. They call you a shill. They call you the whatever. I think there's two types here. There's the people who just need to get out of that live service cycle, and then there's the types that aren't gamers anymore. They've just lost the love for it. And now the only thing that brings them fulfillment is to just constantly crap on everything in sight. They're just terminally online. They don't boot up games. They don't play games. They like to sit around and talk about them in a way that's disparaging and negative, and, you know, everything sucks and everything's woke and everything's this. I actually think that's one of the reasons why some of that content does so well, is because I think there's a lot of people that just aren't gamers anymore. I just don't think anything's doing it for them. So the most fulfillment they get is just kind of crapping on everything that comes out. Don't forget the guys that only watch Let's Plays instead of playing the games themselves. Lord Horde comes in with a member plus, taking us to 160. I think they're the Gordon Ramsays of gaming. Oh, they think they're the Gordon Ramsays of gaming. Right. Referencing touching grass as in playing games. That's what I'm saying. Go touch grass in games. Have new experiences. The whole point of touching grass, the whole statement, it indicates that, like, you're locked in a cage and you got to get outside and kind of live and breathe the air and have something, you know, that kind of changes your perspective and and makes you realize there's a world bigger than whatever it is you're dealing with or whatever it is you're addicted to as far as like gaming and stuff goes. But it's like, man, you've got to do the same thing in gaming, or you're gonna convince yourself that there's nothing worth playing. And that's fine. Like, if that's where you've landed, that's fine. But like, I definitely think that one of the quickest ways to get out of that rut is to play something else. And I would have never played a lot of these games and put the amount of hours I put into a lot of these games if I was still living in Destiny.
Go find something else to do. There's a million other different hobbies that you can get into. These are terrible takes. You log into League of Legends daily? That shit sounds like a fucking job. There's just no game that makes me passionate about logging in daily. Gaming is not about logging in daily, guys. It's not a fucking job. It's an escape from reality to have fun. I can't stress that enough. And whether that fun is with friends or by yourself, it's supposed to be an escape, not something that you log into daily and knock off your dailies, your weeklies, and your monthly challenges, guys. That's a fucking job, and that's not fun.
Well, and right there, what he's saying at the end, and sorry about the language. I like to react to content every once in a while, and Hokage is definitely, he's not safe for work. What he's saying at the end there is so important, and that comes back to the metamorphosis principle that I've talked about, where you play a game and a game changes you. I think people that have been living in live service games that much, I think it's changed them. It's changed their expectations. Like, they basically expect a game to do something to them, to motivate them, to inspire them to log in daily. And it's like, what the heck are you talking about? Like, why do you expect that from games? Well, if that's all you've been doing for 10 years, 15, whatever, that's what you expect. You're like, yeah, that's gaming. It's like, what? What do you mean? Why don't you just boot up a single player game and put 10 or 15 hours in it, roll credits, and feel satisfied in that, have a new experience, see something or experience something, or a new mechanic or a new story element or something that you've never seen before? Why do you expect games to do that? That's a weird expectation to have. Well, that expectation is because that person has literally been changed by the games they're playing. They've been changed by the games that they're playing. I think that has an enormous effect. If you're only ever playing Destiny, I remember feeling that. I remember saying things like that. Like, if I couldn't feel myself sinking tons and tons of hours into a game, I would be like, yeah, I don't really care then. Like, that's what my expectation was, that a game should be like Destiny. A game should give me, that drive and that feel to, to be in and around the game all the time, every single day. Yo, Thrain Waters, thank you for the Prime over there on purple. Oh, wait, hang on. I got to reopen this thing. There we go. Do you think Wolverine game is getting its own state of play? It's very possible. It's a big game. It's a big title. It's Marvel. I don't see why they wouldn't. That's why I stopped playing Fortnite. It feels like a job. He just has a bad addiction. Got to go to Gamers Anonymous. Well, here's the thing. It's impossible for you to not to just turn off your feelings. Like, you can't just be like, I'm not going to feel anything. Like, I think these people have a genuine feeling that gaming is dead, or that gaming sucks, or that gaming is bad, right? I think the feeling is genuine. I don't think they're grifting or lying. Now, there are grifters out there that keep trying to run the narrative that gaming sucks, gaming's dead, gaming's woke, gaming's being ruined by some cabal. And it's like, yeah, no, it's not. Come on, cut it out. But so there are certainly grifters in the space. I don't think every time somebody says something like that, they're just saying it to say it, or they're grifting, or they're just being like some kind of a fraud. I think they genuinely feel it. I do. I think they feel wrung out like a rag because they've been living in some game every single day like a job, like he said, and then they get on the other side of that and nothing excites them anymore. I had a different problem 2 years ago. I got used to streaming my games that it felt pointless playing alone. Felt like a waste of time. Then I found myself associating gaming with the stress of streaming. Then I found it hard to play anything and enjoy it on my own. one of the best things I've ever done. One of the best things I've ever done is I started just gaming on my couch. I was like, yeah, because it just doesn't work in this space. I get frustrated because the thing, we don't get good results. We don't get the support. People don't like it. People want the talk show. And instead of trying to like beat that dead horse and try to like contort a channel that's a talk show into like a channel where there's lots of gameplay, I started gaming on my couch. I was like, yeah, I'll come and talk to y'all about it. Sure, I'll come and talk to y'all about it. No problem. And that's typically what I do. I typically come to the channel and say things, about like what I've been playing, where I've been hanging my hat, the experiences I've been having. It becomes part of the conversation. Wait, did I just do it to the right one? Hang on, let me check something. Yeah, okay. Couch recliner gaming is goated. I associated gaming with all the stress and trouble of streaming. Yeah, because there was a time where that felt weird to me as well. I remember there was a time where I felt like if I couldn't look to chat and be like, chat, did y'all see that? Like, it felt weird. But I started to enjoy gaming more when I made it about, I'm not trying to make content, I'm trying to enjoy this game. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to get clips. I'm trying to just enjoy this game. I'm not trying to show off or make sure I don't make mistakes or make sure I don't get a little salty. It's like, no, I'm just going to enjoy the game. We got to help the community out. Fun in video games flows very easily. The game is only 15 hours. That's not worth the money. I wonder if that's where that comes from. Yo, if you guys haven't hit the like button yet, go ahead and do that. YouTube is acting a little funky this morning on me, so make sure that it's saving your like, okay? Sometimes that thumbs up doesn't stick. Yeah, my cook chat, the Division 2 is getting a game-changing new mode. Fans who have the Warlords of New York expansion will get to experience a new way to play the Division 2. Tom Clancy's Division is celebrating its 10th anniversary this year, but the Division 2 players are the ones who are getting a gift. An update's coming in March. It'll add a realism mode to Division 2, giving fans a new way to experience the game. I think we read about this, didn't we? Realism mode is only available for players who purchase the Warlords of New York. The mode itself is a stripped-down version of the game that drops off modifiers, some of the series' traditional elements, or modifies, like the HUD, the map, hit markers, as well as XP and leveling progression. Instead, players will have to adjust to completely rebalanced arsenal in a reality where shooting a foe in the arm or the leg isn't very effective anymore, but headshots still work, which is good news considering that ammo will be much harder to find in this mode. I mean, props to anybody who enjoys that. That sounds like hell. I wouldn't like that at all. That sounds freaking terrible. Yeah, we're going to shut all the HUD off. You got to get headshots. And the ammo's limited. It's going to be a lot harder. Oh, that sounds freaking terrible. Like, I would hate that. I would hate that, bro. I wouldn't like that at all. It completely removes the bullet sponge mechanics from the game. Could be signs of things to come in Div 3. I don't know, man. That sounds like it's going to be hardcore more than like... Yeah, getting rid of bullet sponge is nice, but that sounds like it's going to be pretty hardcore. I don't know. When it comes out, I'll take a crack and see what I think. But that sounds like misery. I don't know. Sometimes games in their late stages, when you get into the late stage of a game, a lot of what the game does is for the hardcore players, which I think is very great and very noble and good. But I don't know. It can be really, really difficult for somebody to come and re-engage with something like that. There were a lot of things that happened late stage Div 2 that felt that way. We're very late stage Div 2, but like even earlier on late stage Div 2, I was like, I don't know what the frick you're even talking about. I don't know what any of these systems are. Permadeath. Sounds like it'll force people to play more tactical. Yeah, maybe. I'm not trying to sweat bullets in a PvE game. Are we serious right now? That's the release date of that game? For real? That's fast. Forza Horizon 6, according to Wario64 on Twitter, Forza Horizon 6 is releasing on May 19th or May 15th for Premium Edition Early Access. according to a pop-up in Forza Horizon 5. Well, I'll be doggone. That's fast. Maybe that's going to be one of their surprises. Pre-order now and get a pre-tuned and exclusive Ferrari J50 in Forza Horizon 6. Where are they seeing the dates here? Oh, right here. Play 4 days early starting May 15th. Man, that's quick. That feels fast. Like, that's probably a good thing. But yo, what's good? Greetings from cold Buffalo, New York. Greetings to Buffalo. Sethian says, there's absolutely no way I want to play a game that's not a live service with multiplayer PvE and PvP with raids and character customization. There's a quality bar that Destiny doesn't reach anymore, but no other games are hitting for me. I've been in gaming rut since the final shape. Sethians, you literally sound like the person that I've been describing, and I wasn't describing you or people like you in a disparaging way. I think you genuinely feel the way that you do, and I don't know the way out. It takes a special game usually to snap people out of the rut that you're in. It does. You got to find something that sparks something in you again. You know? All I care about is sorrows. I mean, I went through that with reading. I got in a rut with reading fiction because I got a little burned out on the wheel of time, and I had to just take a break. I just didn't read anything for a while. Arc Raiders is close to Destiny. $5 super chat from Neo Reaper. Have you read the Games Radar article with Arc Raiders design lead saying we track who shoots first? Yeah, we took a look at it yesterday. He basically said exactly what I was trying to tell people, which was we can see who shoots first, but we don't know who the aggressor is. Because somebody could come in the room and they're clearly PvPing, right? They shoot your buddy, but then you shoot them. Well, you shot first. They could shoot at you as you round the corner and they miss, and you pop back out and you shoot them. You shot first. You're going to register damage first. Wheel of Time wasn't that great. I loved it. I just spent too much time away from it, so when I tried to re-engage with like book 11 or something, I was like, I don't know what the frick's going on anymore. May 19th is the same date as 007 First Light. Well, there you go. Yo, good morning, Rainwaters. Sethian says, me and my whole raid crew are looking for something we care about. Well, you're working an uphill battle for a couple of reasons. Number one, you played a live service game for a really, really long time, and now you're looking for another live service game, okay? Huh? Huh? Really? That's an unusual turn of events. Soldier Boy followed me on Twitter. All right. This is strange times, chat. I followed him back. I was like, all right. Anyway. You're starting Stormlight? Yeah, that's what I've been reading, Stormlight Archives. So, you're working up two hills, though, Sethians. Like, you basically lived in a live service game for, like, a really, really long time. And now, you're looking for another live service game. But you also played the live service game socially. So, it'd be one thing if you were playing Destiny solo. And you're, like, riding strikes and public events. And that's just what you're doing. And now you can't find another game to do that grind. Well, you're getting hit twofold. You didn't just live in Destiny. You lived in Destiny socially. You and your raid crew. You know what I mean? Like, you and your raid crew are now looking for something else to socially game in. That's tough. You know? Time to code switch. I think I get more respect because I never do. Sneaky. I think I get more respect because I don't. Because I don't code switch, okay? I killed the dude in extraction, hear me out, says Hilly. He needed to be downed and then killed in the extraction area for a Steam achievement, and nobody would help the man. He need to be down and then killed. What? I took one for the team. I did miss an opportunity for achievements myself, and I should have knocked him with the tool for my achievements. What's the name of the console he dropped? Yeah, I don't know. If Destiny 3 comes to light, will you make a comeback? I don't really care. Like, I would play it, but I wouldn't be like, yeah, time to mount my comeback. You know. Listen, I'm not trying to quote LL Cool J on you, but like, don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. Like, I'm still here. What do you mean? What do you mean comeback? It's been 10 years. I'm still around. I didn't go anywhere. You know, it can always be better. We can always grow and improve and see, you know, bigger and better things. But, you know, did I correctly see that Kai Cenat quit streaming? He did. He did. I've told you guys for a long time that Kai and I Show Speed, I respect those young men, you know. I think they elevated streaming. And I think they, yeah. I completely understand why Kai walked away. He doesn't need it. If you don't need to stream every single day and you're visionary and you're creative and you're prolific and you've got ideas, just go, dude. Go, young man. Go. You go have a good life. Get the frick out of the game. I mean it, dude. Get out of here, bro. You go have a good life. You know? Get out of the game. Yeah, they're just streaming everyday thing. And always needing bigger and better results and the grind. Yeah, he's launching like a clothing company. Yeah. So, he could have gone a really bad way. Him and Speed both could have gone a really bad way. And they didn't. And I've always respected both of them for that. You know, it'd have been really, really easy for them to go like the toxic streamer drama route. You know, they could have really gotten in bad places and bad circles, and they didn't. So, Speed'll. I wouldn't be surprised if Speed does something similar. Eventually, he's like, you know what? I'm set for life. I want to do something else. You know. Eventually, just you feel a draw, or you feel a desire, or you feel a pull to do something else. You know? So. I never really watched them, but they have an impact and reach. They do. Forza Horizon 5 maybe had more players than Ghost, but I doubt it outsold. It would have loads of people on Game Pass. Is it an act like the Peanut? I don't think anything. I mean, I think Speed gets into character. Yeah, I think there's a version of Speed that's sort of in character, but I don't necessarily think it's like Burnt Peanut. I don't know if Kai was ever like in character. I think Kai was just always trying to elevate whatever they were doing. He always wanted to go bigger and better. He was clearly driven. You know, he was driven, he was hungry, and he did the work. You didn't even have to like the streams to see that. Sethian said, it's tough to find a new game. I played New World with some folks, but that also got its plug pulled. Yikes, 2025 felt so cursed for my gaming. I appreciate a gamer who will see not just... I think part of seeing gaming accurately is seeing yourself accurately. Like, I'll say things like this. I'm like, that's just not a game for me. Right? Like, so when I rage quit Ninja Gaiden, you know, it was such a rage quit. I just calmly said, I'm too old for this. I can't keep up. It's not a game that I'm cut out for. It's a skill issue, right? It's not for me. I don't get activated by this. Gene Park and David Jaffe were talking about the game, and Gene Park brought me up, and he said, you know, Reforge doesn't get activated by getting beat down in a game. Like, that's not something that's going to make him say, oh, I'm going to figure this out and come back stronger or whatever. You know, And that's true. I don't have the temperament for it. I just get annoyed, and I feel too slow now when I play games like that. My old man brain is like, I don't know, I can't do this anymore. I can play a game that requires quick reflexes, but just you start getting all those systems upon systems and different things you can do, and I'm like, yeah, I can't do this. Well, you'll notice, you go back and watch it, I'm not like, this is a bad game, this game sucks, this too hard, blah, blah, blah. I make it about me. You'll notice that. Like, I consistently will say, this looks like people could really enjoy this, but it's not a game for me. Right? You're not even old. Listen, when you're 44, I don't know how old you are, but I'm 44, dude. I'm taking my glasses off to read something close to my face now, okay? Nobody's called me Unk yet, but it'll soon happen. The grays are coming in the beard, the grays are coming in the hair, okay? Like, I'm not a young blood anymore, dude. I'm not a spring chicken. 36, yeah, so I've almost got a decade on you. You'll get here and you'll be like, he was right. 44 isn't old. In video game land, it is. How many 44-year-olds you see on an esports team? How many? And these guys playing Call of Duty and these quick reflex games. How many 40-somethings are still in the game? How many? Come on. In video game land, if you need to have like quick reflexes and you need to be on top of your game and you need to be fast and responsive, dude, come on now. I'm not down there anymore. I'm not down there in the young brackets where, like, man, they're able to just do all the things. I can't do that anymore. And the truth be told, I never really liked it anyway. I was never really drawn to super challenging games. Like, I would watch my older brother play games like Battletoads, right? And things like that. Reforge Gaming, that's your new name. No, you guys have said it in jest. Nobody has seriously called me that yet. It hasn't happened yet. My dad, 62, plays COD nightly. He's a good player too. Right. You have to understand, I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying it's more challenging. And I was never a particularly strong player to begin with. Like, I never was big on the quick twitch games. I was never a high performant PvP player. I was never big into like Dark Souls and stuff like that. So that's also part of the issue, is that I never really was into the games to begin with. So to me, it's like, yeah, if I'm not hanging with the game, if I can't kind of keep up, I'm gonna put it down. I'm just gonna walk away and be like, yeah, this isn't for me. Like I said, I don't make it about the game. I make it about me. I'm like, yeah, this is a me thing. This isn't my vibe. Like if it's like an XCOM style game or if it's like an RTS, I just don't want to play those games. Those are not my jam. Like a real-time strategy or like an XCOM game, a fighting game, the racing game, stuff like that. Trill Troll with 43 months in a VIP says, here you go. All right, okay. Calm down, nephew. That's enough of that. Still have nightmares about Dark Souls. Yeah, I mean, and I did my piece in those games, Dark Souls 3, Sekiro, and Elden Ring, and I got a decent chunk of the way through Lies of P, and I was like, I don't have this. This isn't for me. I'm not cut from this cloth. Does that make sense? It's like, if you're, let's just say you've been playing a certain sport, your entire life, but now you're in your 40s and you go and play with some of these young bloods. Guess what? You're going to have to work twice as hard to keep up. You're going to get tired faster. You're not going to be as quick. That's just the facts. That's just what happens. You're going to have to work twice as hard to keep up. That's just the way that it is. Like when I was coaching soccer, you know what I'm saying? Like there were teenagers that would hang out afterwards. They'd be running around, and they had just got done practicing. I'm like, I couldn't do that now. I'm winded after 10 minutes. So there's certainly You can go to your grave knowing you beat Sekiro. That's an accomplishment. Well, yeah, and that was a big moment for me, and I really, really liked it. But, like, yeah, part of that is affinity. Part of it is ability, right? I don't have a strong affinity for those games, so I don't have this drive to keep going and to keep trying and to, look, I'm going to get good, right? That is not something that I'm going to be doing. If you really, really want to, you'll keep going. What happened to Sekiro? I thought it changed you. It opened my eyes to why people like those games. And I beat Sekiro really efficiently. You can watch my playthrough. It's on this channel. Most bosses didn't give me fits. Most of them didn't. There's rage and salt in that playthrough, undeniable. I tell Omar to shut up at one point. I'm like, shut up, Omar. But the truth is, that game didn't really give me fits until the final boss. Most bosses I was beating in an hour or less, and then I got to Ishin, and he took me 5 hours. And it felt amazing. It felt fantastic. But, like, I don't have a strong desire to keep doing that. $5 super chat from Broken Earth. What he's really saying is he's built different. Different has all kinds of meanings. Sometimes that means we don't bang our heads against a rock. Lost Soul Aside? Lost Soul Aside didn't feel good at all. Lost Soul Aside felt bad. Like, the combat just didn't feel good. Y'all who can play games by yourself really impress me. I just don't understand it. We all know it took you more than an hour to beat Guardian 8. I don't know. You'd have to go back and look. I said most of the bosses. I didn't say all. I don't think I said all. Most of the bosses took me an hour or less. The real big struggle for me was Ishin. He took me 5 hours. I don't know how long Guardian 8 took me. You'd have to go back and watch. I don't know which playthrough. I don't know which part it is, and I don't know how long it took me. All I know is I'd get to a boss, and people were like, this one took me like 8 hours. This one took me multiple days. And like 45 minutes later, I'd be like, that dude's on the ground. What are you talking about? Like, I don't know. I did not have, that game did not put me into fits until, like, as in, like, I had to keep trying. It didn't really happen until Ishin. Did you beat the Expedition 33 DLC? No, I didn't go back to it. I loved it. I loved the story. I had a great time. To me, some games are like a meal where the last bite, you're like, I'm stuffed. Perfect amount of food. I don't want anything else. They come around with that dessert tray and you're like, no, thank you. Some games are like that. I'm like, yeah, I don't need DLC. I don't need to go back. And sometimes there's a momentum aspect. Like right now, I rolled credits on Control, but I'm just continuing to play and do the side quests and stuff, and I'll probably do all the DLC. Why? I almost have like momentum in the game. I'm just gonna kind of keep going. Back in the day, I played Control, rolled credits, went back way later to try to play DLC, and it just didn't have that pull or that draw. There's almost like no magnetism at that point. I'm like, But when you're in the game and you're kind of like in the zone, you have a sense of wanting to keep going when DLC comes out. Or if the DLC is like baked in. Like, I remember when I bought Borderlands 1 Game of the Year Edition, it came with all the DLCs. I played every square inch of everything that the game had. I was happy Sekiro clicked for you at Madame Butterfly. Hit her until she deflects. I'll never forget that. Yeah. Someone in chat kept trying to say that to me, but they were using too many words. And somebody finally said, hit her until she deflects. And it was like the moment in the Matrix where Neo stands up and sees everything. And it's like all of a sudden, I saw what the game was. I'm like, oh, I get it now. That was the key that just like unlocked Sekiro for me. Sometimes I save DLC for a future playthrough if I really like the game. Right, like you're going to go through and play it again, and then you're going to have that momentum. You're going to have that momentum. You're going to be able to keep going. Guys, if you're just tuning in, do me a favor. Hit the like button. Check your membership. See if you have a membership renewal or a Prime. That is how we do this full time. You guys' direct support of the channel is how I do this every single day. We've got a lot of things to talk about today. And the situation, if you guys didn't see this, so the Code Violet developers, our Team Kill Media, it started hitting people with copyright strikes. Now, I'm not going to get into defending this video in particular, okay? I didn't watch it. The video was about Team Kill Media tax evasion scam exposed, all right? Apparently, the video had misinformation in it. And this is the era of time that we live in. Denzel said it. It's not about whether it's true. It's about being first, okay? He's spot on when he says this. And so, you put a video out there and you're first and you're not accurate and you got bad info. You're spreading misinformation. The copyright strike system on YouTube is not designed for you to smack a video down that has misinformation in it, all right? Half of the dadgum platform would be getting hit with copyright strikes if that were true. Every minute of the day there's a video going up that's got information in it that's not accurate or that's misrepresented or exaggerated or what have you, okay? That's not what the copyright strike system is for. The copyright strike system is to protect, content that is... This camera's acting weird over here. It is to protect content that is copyrighted. Whether you leak an episode of a TV show or a movie or what have you. This is not the first time that they have done this. They did something similar, and it was really weird the last time they did it because it had been a really, really long time. And they did a copyright strike on Dreamcast guy. He had a review of their game Quantum Error, and they were trying to, I guess, scrub any bad reviews or something. It was really, really bizarre when they did it. And they're, so now they're doing this again. There's a handful of really good videos out there. We watched a guy the other day. If you guys want to see a really, really good breakdown of what happened, his video is fairly new, so I don't want to pull away from it. I don't like reacting to content that's super, super fresh. Veteran Joystick's got a really good breakdown of this. It's not even 24 hours old, so I don't want to react to it. I like for a video to be on the platform in the algo for minimum of one entire day. Okay. And he's got the indie game just exposed a serious problem, Code Violet. He has a really good breakdown, not just of this situation, but of what they've done in the past. So check that one out if you guys want to see a full breakdown. Sponge Roth with 25 months and a member says, good morning, Lona. Welcome back, Sponge Roth. I appreciate it. So yeah, those are the guys that sent me a code a while ago. I didn't review their game, and I was trying to do them a favor because they're a small team. And then ever since they've proven themselves to be a pretty toxic and pretty awful company, it's basically a 4-man team. And I guess they're all brothers, and they've just continued to show that you should not trust them. You shouldn't buy their games, and what it really drives home is we should be able to get refunds on anything that we buy digitally. Anybody that bought that game digitally from the PlayStation Store should be able to get a refund, I think. That's my personal opinion. That we are not properly protected in the realm of digital purchases, and I think that we should be. I think it would make something like this really, really impossible. I guess they bragged on a tweet that they had made back their money their money that they spent making Quantum Error. Now, they could be lying and just posturing, or it could be true. Sethians, thank you so much for using your Prime. I have a Prime. Good shout. 12 months on Purple. Thank you so much. It's officially tied 17-17 between the platforms. Let's see a fight today, boys. It's a 164. We need to end the day at 300 to be on pace for Friday. If we hit 500 members on the week, my wife joins me on Friday night, and we do gaming news tonight. And she reacts to gaming news, and it's hilarious. They're also bragging about being the number 2. There's some good comments on this tweet, ripping them up about it. Yeah, so they're saying that Code Violet is the number 2 best-selling horror game on PlayStation. Thanks so much. And a single gifted comes in from Raphael McCoy, and that's a good setup. A 10 bomb gifted is required for the next milestone. Whoever hits it gets it. The copyright strike is uncalled for, but if they want to claim defamation, there's an option for that they should have utilized. Well, sure. If they want to, then, go that route, I guess. People are now coming down here saying, why are you copyright striking people like Grift God? This dude's name is Grift God? He's just like, I'm the Grift God. Oh boy. I'm the Grift God. Did he get reinstated? Did the video get reinstated? I don't know if they've got him reinstated yet. Other people's videos have been reinstated. So hopefully YouTube's doing right by people. It's an abuse of the copyright system. I swear they use emojis like a 16-year-old girl. Is there a game you're looking forward to? The game I'm looking forward to the most this year is Saros from Housemarque. It's basically the spiritual sequel to Returnal. Saros, Control Resonant, and Wolverine are like my top 3. In that order. I'm looking forward to Saros the most, then Control, then Wolverine. In that order. There's plenty of other games I'm looking forward to, like Resident Evil. The list is just kind of getting ridiculous. Because there's a lot of games we don't even have release dates yet for. So a lot of games could slip. So I thought Code Violet was going to give me Dino Crisis vibes. Yo, thank you for the 3 stream streak, Zach. I appreciate it. Did you like their older games? I went back and played their one top-down. It was fun for a little bit. I enjoyed it, but, after that, I was kind of like, eh. If you guys are just tuning in, there's a lot of different things going on in gaming news. We were talking Battlefield 6. We reacted to a Black Hokage clip talking about Is Gaming Dead? Now we're kind of talking about the situation with Team Kill Media and their Code Violet game, which is terrible, and their copyright striking people's videos, to, I guess, minimize the negative criticism. The game is pretty much getting, fleeced everywhere. It's just getting shredded. It has a terrible score on PlayStation, terrible score on Metacritic. So they say, we make games for our fans, and they're having fun. I don't think so. If you look at the user scores, Code Violet PlayStation Store. It's a 293, right? It's a 293. Yeah, this is what your community thinks of your game. Lower than a 60% score. Failing grade. That's what the community that bought your game thinks. And they're out here blocking people. They're out here blocking people on Twitter and doing copyright strikes on YouTube. So, there you go. That's that. And if you guys missed it, Microsoft seemingly leaked Forza Horizon 6's release date. There was a screenshot from Forza Horizon 5 that indicated if you did something, you could get access to Forza Horizon 6 early access on May the 15th. So, we got a hype train going on Twitch. There's 2 minutes left. Why is it saying playback pause while transmitting audio? What the heck? I don't know why Discord tells me this. Like, okay. Alright, yeah. That's fine. I don't know. I wasn't broadcasting Spotify anyway. You look real dumb if you defend these guys. Mm-hmm. That'll get people on your side. Yeah, what are you gonna do? This reminds me of the organization that went after me when I said Starfield was coming to Xbox. Where are they now? Nowhere. That was another garbage outfit that took advantage of hate on Twitter to go after me. And that they don't exist anymore. They went bye-bye. Single gifted comes in from Wired Rope over here on Purple, trying to stoke the fires and poke the line. Thank you so much, Mr. Wired Rope. PlayStation Portal Pro coming. Well, I don't know when that's going to happen or get announced, but I'm very, very confident that there is some type of better version of the Portal coming. There's a better version of the Portal coming. So we'll see. We'll see what that turns into. OLED screen probably is what I'm assuming. The ability to install some of the streaming apps would be a guess. Yeah. And 5 gifted members come in from Broken Earth on YouTube. He says, what do you think of that? Twitch, as they put themselves in the lead 23-18. Twitch's hype train comes to a dismal end as YouTube takes the lead. Thank you so much, Broken Earth. An OLED Portal. Yeah, I could see them doing an OLED Portal. I could, maybe, again, I don't know about making any bigger, but I could certainly see them doing that. Here, we can go full screen on this Forza thing if you guys want to see it. Let me open image in a new tab here. Let's see. There you go. Yeah, Petrov, you don't need to tell me anymore, man. We just ignore it now. There ain't nothing we can do about it. Forza Horizon 6 here. Broken Earth does another one. Let's add that one to the total. And he secures the milestone for YouTube. 176. I owe YouTube a member. Thank you so much. People are spamming Farty Bomb. Trying to manifest a 50 bomb. Haven't seen a 50 bomb this week. We'll see. Okay, so apparently this popped up in Forza Horizon 5. You can pre-order now Forza Horizon 6, and you can get a pre-tuned and exclusive Ferrari, all right? The key information is right here. If you pre-order Forza Horizon 6 Premium Edition and get Premium Upgrade featuring early access, play 4 days early starting May 15th. There you go. So that's apparently the release date of Forza Horizon 6 then is May 19th, which just so happens to be a Tuesday. So, seems like a legit accident that happened. Somebody did something somewhere. And, yeah. Now everybody knows when Forza Horizon 6 is coming out. That's kind of a surprise. I think that, yeah, playing 4 days early, early access is such a scam. You're paying extra to beta test the game. So, you think 4 days early is a beta test? Aren't they just playing the launch version of the game that everybody else is going to be playing 4 days later? We all know that Marathon is going to do whatever, says Butters. But it seems like coming from 10 plus years of PvE-focused games, they will need to embrace aggressive-based matchmaking. But I don't think their community wants that to happen. Do you think aggression-based matchmaking should show up in Marathon? And second, do you think ABMM will show up in more games in the genre? I think Embark Studios is learning what I've been saying for a very long time, that there are so many people out there that don't want to play PvP and they just want to play with other people. They want a PvE game. Helldivers' popularity proves this. Arc Raiders' popularity proves this. If you look at the player base and you look at how people are responding to videos about the aggression-based matchmaking, if you look how people are responding to discussions of, PvP and PvE, it to me is absolutely crystal clear that people are they're preferring PvE over PvP. Now, I'm not talking about everybody. I'm just saying there's a lot of people in that camp. There's a lot of people in that camp. And I've been saying for a very long time that is a ripe field. It is a ripe field for harvest. If you're trying to get new players and you're trying to launch a new game and you're trying to give yourself, especially you're trying to give yourself elasticity and longevity, like you're trying to add content over the years, PvE, dude, it gives you a lot of freedom. And I think people have been scared of PvE because they look at a game like Destiny and they're like, man, Destiny consistently has struggled to offer enough content. People burn through it really, really quickly. They'll spend a year building some DLC. 2 weeks into the DLC, everybody's crying there's not enough to do. I think that's a valid concern and a valid fear to have as a developer. Like, are you going to be able to make enough content to keep people satiated? Like, is that possible? Okay. I would say that Helldivers and Arc Raiders are showing a different path. They're showing like you can build like a really good environment, world, living, breathing thing, then give yourself agility within it so that you can add content, new arc, new weapons, new whatever. So I would say that I think Embark Studios is learning something that I had speculated and predicted for a very long time. It's not hard to see evidence of my position on this. It's not hard to find evidence for it. Look at the trends within Destiny for the 10 years that it was out. It's been out for longer than 10 years, but roughly 8 years of those 10, very successful, make tons of money, very regular player base. And where does the player base trend? Where does it trend? For 8 years, the majority of the player base trends PvE. There's a PvP player base for sure, undeniable. They inherited a lot of homies from Halo. But the player base in Destiny for 8 years, for close to a decade, trends toward and prefers PvE. And then games like The Division and Borderlands and Anthem make a huge splash because people are looking for something like that. They're looking for something that they can play with their buddies. They're looking for something that they, don't have to do PvE. I think we're seeing evidence of that in Arc Raiders. And I don't know, your question's about Marathon, right? The issue with Marathon is first impressions mean a lot. The look, the feel, and the vibe of a game means a lot. Hang on, I owe YouTube a membership. I haven't even done it yet. All of those things communicate volumes, right? And Marathon 100% communicates you're in a match. You got to kill the other players. You're in a match. You're playing against other people. That's what it feels like. Marathon feels extremely PvP centric. It just does. So if they use aggressive based matchmaking, I don't know how much of a difference it's going to make, because I feel like the people that are going to flock to Marathon, I think they're going to treat it like a PvP game. I think they're going to treat it like Apex Legends with loot. They're going to go in with their buds or by themselves, and they're going to be looking to kill. That's what I think is going to happen. And I think that's a very, very fast relevancy death for the game. I don't think anybody's going to care about it very, very quickly. I think it's going to get boring very fast. You're going to have hardcores that eat it up and want to grind and want to level and want to go to the upper echelons of the content, for sure. You're definitely going to have people to do that. I think by and large, the gaming community at large is going to reject the game. They're not going to stick with it. I think they're going to get bored. They're either going to not play it at all because they don't like Bungie, or because of the art controversy, or just the early impressions were so negative. A lot of people have already written off the game, okay? So you have people that aren't even going to touch it. The people that do touch it, the people that are willing to spend the money to play the game, I think a lot of them are going to get bored very, very quickly. Agreed that Marathon communicates kill the other people always. To me, that's why it's appealing. And I think that's why it's going to burn out really, really quickly. That's why it's going to burn out really, really quickly. Because it literally that's what it looks like. It looks like a match. It looks like a PvP match. You drop in, you're funneled to you're funneled to areas where it seems like you're supposed to be fighting. Why PvP in this? Yeah, people are already saying this is Marathon. We PvP in this MFer. Better take your sensitive butt back to Arc Raiders. Okay? I definitely, substitute teachered that up and made it a little bit more presentable for a safer work broadcast. But already forming that identity? Oh, yeah. I'm telling you, there's something about the game. There's something about the vibe. There's something about the first person perspective, the guns. Folks are going to be in there trying to frag out. That's what they're going to do. I like PvP. I'm not saying that you shouldn't like PvP. I'm not even saying that you shouldn't go into Marathon to frag out. I'm saying that's what people are going to do, which is exactly why the game won't last. There's nothing wrong with playing the game that way. I'm not being judgmental and saying you shouldn't play that way. I'm not saying you shouldn't go in there and get yours and get your kills and have a good time. Not at all trying to indicate that. Just, to me, I think that's why it just isn't going to last. It's just going to turn into like it's going to feel like an arena style loot kind of based extraction style game, and I just think it's going to burn out really, really quickly. I see Marathon in the vein of Escape from Tarkov, where it's a more difficult and harder game. What is frag out? Brother, you've never heard the phrase frag out before? Don't reach, young blood. Don't reach. What do you mean, what is frag out? It's code word? It's not code word. That's what. Listen, back in the day, that's what me and the guys that I played Call of Duty with would say. You got to frag out. You got to get kills. The youth today, that's what I'm saying, man. These young bloods coming in here trying to question me. How does one frag out? You get a lot of kills. What do you mean? Jiminy Christmas. What's happening? I'm not speaking. Listen, I didn't speak like Shakespeare or something. Frag out is not that old. It ain't that old. Like this old head in here talking crazy, saying frag out. Oh my gosh. Oh. For the first time, I feel old. Thanks, bud. That's what I'm saying. This guy says, what's frag out? I think they need to overhaul the PvE. From what I've played and seen so far, the UESC enemies are way too similar looking. I said the exact same thing, Romeo. I said the same thing. I think Marathon's gameplay, it looks like, to me, it literally looks like the bots are just stronger versions of the people that are already on the map. They don't look. And again, I don't think you necessarily want to copy Arc Raiders, but this is something that I think they just really had foresight on. The PvE threat doesn't move, attack, or really navigate the map like a person, because they're drones. They're flying, they're crawling, they're big, they're loud, they're jumping, they're leaping, what have you. The bots in Marathon, they just kind of look and move around like normal units. So like your combat with them, your gameplay with them is likely to feel somewhat repetitious and rehearsed. Like it's like, well, yeah, I've done this 1,000 times already. That's one of the other reasons, like, I worry, like, I don't know if this thing gonna last, man, because people are gonna say everything kind of feels the same, everything kind of bleeds together. In my 35 years of life, I never heard frag out. Me either. We gotta say it 3 times? Jeez. All right, look, let me Google it. All right. Frag out. All right. Frag out is a multifaceted term primarily used in military, gaming, and commercial context. Military and tactical. It's a tactical warning shouted by the military personnel. Frag out, like a grenade got thrown, right? In gaming culture, right? You do frag out when you're throwing. In multiplayer gaming, a frag was commonly a term for a kill. So if you're going to frag out, you're going to get lots of kills. All right? You yell it before throwing a grenade? You can yell it before throwing a grenade. You can also say you're about to frag out. You know? Crochet Ginger has spent 89 years on a life-size queso. Okay, with the legs and headphones still to finish. That ain't life-size. He's not that big. Why is Deserto out here? Now come on now. Why are you taking some passive swings at my man here? Like, the TikToker who went viral crocheting a life-size queso has shared an update on her progress. That's not life-size. Look how big that is. Like, get out of here. That ain't life-size. The frick? You said it in Halo? That's always a joke with him. I bet. The heck was that noise? Oh yeah, the humidifiers over there making noise. I'm like, what the heck was that? Did I say 89 years? 89 hours. Sorry. The term frag came in the early days of FPS, the days of Doom and such. That's what I'm saying. We called them frags. You know, life size, you're small. How small is she? What do you mean life size? She's like this, and then what is she, the size of a kitten? Look at what the heck? We didn't say frag when you played Halo? Uh-huh. That's all right. Tolono, anything is big? Uh-huh. Yo, what's good, Sony? She's probably like 4'9". Young fans have nothing on the OG gamers from the 1980s, right? We can beat them. Us old timers still are the best gamers. Now listen to me, okay? I was born in 81. I was there when the old Magic was written. I was gaming on a PC when some of these guys that try to like pull my gamer credentials were still wet in the bed. Well, I mean, they're still wet in the bed, but that's not the point. I can't hang, dude. No way. I was playing Quake 2 and Quake 3, okay? When a lot of you weren't even around yet. You weren't even a twinkle in your daddy's eye, and I was playing some Quake. I can't hang anymore, bro. No way. Nope. I'm out. I can't hang, dude. I'm not good enough. Not fast enough. I was never particularly good to begin with. I was always pretty average in the games that I played. Did you see Cross play the Halo raid? No, I did not. Everybody's a gangster until the arthritis hits. Yeah, that's right. Everybody's a gangster until their back is sore because they slept funny. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I gotta take some Tylenol. Like, Don't stand up too fast. You'll get dizzy. Oh my gosh. All right, I had a lot of things today. I feel, what are we? We're like 2 hours in. All right. What are we talked Battlefield in the open. I said gaming news today was about a weird turn of events, okay? And a really weird turn of events is Josef Fares, the guy from Hazelight. his thoughts on AAA games and his thoughts on EA. Okay? When you sneeze and yeah, that's right. You sneeze too hard and you hurt your back. That's right. I'm not going to watch the interview because, like, we watched the Black Hokage clip and he swore a couple times. Man, this man here, Josef Fares, he swears a lot. And I keep a safe for work broadcast, so I'm not about to fill your ears with F-bombs because, buddy, he is dropping them in this interview. If you want to watch it, you can go to the Game Business YouTube channel with Chris Dring. But his comments about EA and AAA are interesting. He says there's a lot of great people at EA. He says they know how we work, they respect it, and they leave us be. Let's be honest, they're not a publisher in the world that hasn't effed up every now and then, all right? He says sometimes I feel that EA is getting more crap than they deserve. I mean, come on, Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, everybody's done something that's not good. But for some reason, EA has become this bad guy. For us, it's a super good collaboration. I'm very open about it. If it was bad, I would have said that in the interview. But we have a great relationship. I'm not saying that they haven't had any mistakes like any other publisher. All the people that I'm surrounded with EA are gamers. They love games. It's not like I'm sitting with corporate people with suits. It's not like that. And people should not worry because Hazelight will do always what it wants. So, I didn't expect to see this from him. He's kind of taken up for EA, which, to be fair, we've gotten some good games because of the EA work with Hazelight. There's the EA Originals has put out some good games. But he also has some interesting thoughts on AAA. Which, wait, where did that go? Was that in a separate article? I thought it was in this one as well. Huh. That must have been a separate article. I thought it was all in the same article. I'll give you a paraphrase. He's actually concerned that, like, with the rise and the success of Expedition 33, he's concerned that a lot of companies are going to move toward AA, and he doesn't want that. He's like, he wants AAAs to be in the mix. He wants the big games, right? Let me see if I can find the direct quote, because he even mentions a couple of games. Here we go. This one's actually on the Game Business website, okay? Let's see. It's down here. No, that's EA. Here we go. He says, after the success of things like Claire Obscure Expedition 33, the AA games are taking over, but I would not be able to live without a AAA title. I really want to play the blockbuster games. You can't do GTA for $10 million. We need both, he says. It's important not to get stuck in ideas like AA is a new thing or indie is a new thing or blah, blah, blah is a new thing. We need the diversity. Now, I was saying this when Expedition 33 was kind of having its moment early last year, and people were kind of weaponizing it against AAA. I'm like, that's not the takeaway here. To act like AAA is the devil and like AA is here to take over. They can coexist. We also looked at videos that were claiming that, like, AA and indies embarrass the AAAs, but then you look at the sales charts and AAA's doing just fine. He says, I hope the publishers don't look at games like Expedition 33, which has been super successful, and think, oh, AA is the new thing, let's only do that. I don't believe in that. You had a huge amount of AA games that came this year, which nobody cared about. Let's remember that. This is a huge point that I've made time and time again. I was like, there's an ocean of indie games and AA games that come out that don't do well. They crash and they burn. There's probably more AA and indie flops in a given year than there are AAA flops. The demonization of AAA is just convenient. They're a convenient devil to wail on. They're a very, very convenient devil to wail on. And I think it's a mistake because I think there are so many good studios out there and good AAA games out there that deliver great experiences. And you get a great game at full price. They're not all bad. The video we watched the other day, he also kind of kept conflating AAA with live service. It's like, well, yeah, I get live service is is a problem. People don't like live service. People think that live service is like bad for the industry, right? Until, of course, they have a live service game that they like Helldivers or Arc Raiders or, people that are going to play like Marvel Toko and Fighting Souls. Then all of a sudden live service is okay. The overwhelming majority of AA games crash and burn. Expedition 33 and Silksong are the exception, not the rule. This is true. He goes on to say, he says, I would argue that actually Naughty Dog is pushing the envelope of innovation with the AAA budget. I would argue Rockstar is doing it. Right? I don't know why he switches companies there. Anyway. Oh, no, he's adding to the list. He said, I would argue Rockstar is doing it. Nintendo is most of the time doing it. So you can do a big AAA title, but also take innovative risks. Once you go over $100 million budget, you're going to be like, okay, there's a lot of money on the table. People are more scared. It's understandable, but it's proven that you can do it. Now, I don't necessarily think that like AAA games are known for their innovation and their like risk taking. A lot of the times they're actually known for not taking risks. They're known for kind of dialing it in. When the budget gets big and the project gets big, they're actually known for not taking those risks. But most of what he's saying I completely agree with, that like we don't want to have this super like slanted version of the industry where all of a sudden like everybody is just making like little AA and indie titles and we don't have any of the AAA blockbusters. So it was an interesting turn of events that Josef Fares of Hazelight is saying, listen, EA is not the problem, and we don't want everybody doing exactly the same thing with AA and indies in the future. You want your big, tentpole, big giant titles. Winged Wheel gifts a member. Thank you so much, getting us to 177. Appreciate you. A couple more likes on the video, guys, and we'll be at 200. I appreciate you guys that are hitting that like button every single day. You come in, you lurk, you listen. Those of you that like spam an emote or two, and then you hit that like button. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate it very much. There has to be balance. This is how I've kind of spoken about it recently. I'm an entertainment Darwinist. I believe in survival of the fittest within the entertainment world. Survival of the fittest. If it's a good game, if it's awesome, it'll sell well, it'll do well. It will. If it's excellent, if they deliver a quality product, doesn't matter the size of the game. It doesn't. It could be something like Peak for $8 and they sell 10 million copies. It could be something like Death Stranding 2 or Ghosts of Yotei, where you've got a big studio and a lot of money and they make an amazing title. I believe in survival of the fittest. The market will always support games in this way. Like, even if you look at live service and you feel like, well, live service has been really, really bad for the market and there's always people playing Fortnite and Warzone and spending money and blah, blah, blah. My pushback has always been, I don't think those things are bad for the market because those people are landing in a game where they're having fun and they're spending money. Now, you could look at monetization practices in like some of the mobile games and some of the gacha games and say, if that starts to rear its head in live service, that's a bad thing. I would probably agree with that and say that, yes, that would be a concern, but only within those avenues. That would be a concern for live service games or ongoing monetization structures are going to maybe start, mimicking some of those things. But I don't think that that is a risk for like gaming as a whole. It's not like you're going to fast forward and then all of a sudden, Spider-Man 3 has like scummy gacha microtransactions in it. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think you're going to see that from like Nintendo, PlayStation, or Xbox. They're not going to go that route. Now, there will be, I think, some of the live service games, especially if they're going to be landing in markets where there is more of an acceptance of that. Like if a game is being developed for live service and they know it's going to be popular in like Korea or China, that is an economy that's more receptive to those types of monetization practices. But I don't think it's what a lot of people turn it into, like almost like this is where everything's going. This is going to ruin gaming. I don't think so, because I don't think your single player folks, I don't think your narrative-driven games, I don't think they're going to fall prey to that. You know, when you have, like, look at this picture. Like, we have so many great games coming this year. I think, are all of these, except for Tokone, Marvel Tokone Fighting Souls, I believe all these are basically like single-player games. Romeo's a Dead Man, Onimusha Saros, High on Life 2, Beast of Reincarnation, Marvel 1943, Code Vein 2, Neo 3, Tides of Annihilation, Dustbloods, Control Resonant, Crimson Desert, Resident Evil, Forza, Marvel Tokone Fighting Souls, Wolverine, Resonance, A Plague Tale Legacy, GTA 6, Phantom Blade Zero, Pragmata, Tomb Raider, Reanimal, First Light, and Batman. Lego Batman. I mean, you look at that lineup, that's not even everything. There's like all single-player games right there. Except for the fighting game. And even the fighting game, you can play single player if you want. You don't have to play against other people. You don't have to play online. Your GOAT Replace isn't there? Yeah, Replace is coming. I always dislike the argument it's backwards. The market follows consumer demand. It doesn't create consumer demand. I think there is... Marvel has been put on hold for an undetermined amount of time. Oh, no, I gifted? Oh, no, I counted it. I thanked you for it. Maybe you lagged out and didn't hear it. Yeah, I added it. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's in the total. The 177? When you say Marvel's on hold, like the release date's on hold? And I don't know. I think that there's a chicken and an egg going on here, Zubair. Sometimes market demand grows and increases because somebody makes something and people are like, yo, this is actually really, really good. Like, clearly, Battle Royale wasn't in demand. It grew in demand because people started making games like that. Got to the snow level in Returnal. This game is awesome. Listen, I wish you well. Buckle the frick up. Like, the snow level, that's a biome 5 is probably the hardest biome in the game. Just be careful. Take it slow. Take it slow. Move a lot. That's a very ambiguous statement. What Marvel? Movies, specific game, random games, TV shows, 1943. Oh, 1943 has been put on development hold. Oh. I wasn't sure what he was talking about. I was like, Marvel Tokone Fighting Souls has been put on hold? I was like, what do you mean, huh? Speaking of God of War, Xbox fans are back to coping and hoping that Hellblade 2 will be, and you retracted your sentence. What the heck? Okay. There can be a latent demand that isn't explicitly stated. Yeah, but I mean, I kind of feel like you're essentially claiming an omnipresent demand, which I don't think is accurate. Like, yes, in general, mankind likes to compete and excel. That was a demand that found its match in PvP games. And then that becomes just sort of a latent demand within the market of like, yeah, we like PvP games. And then all of a sudden people are like, we really like Battle Royale games. Right? At some level, you're almost making like an anthropological claim about humanity. You're like, well, humans just always have a baked-in desire for something, you know, and the market can't foster that demand. I don't know. Apple made the iPhone. It tapped into a latent need for pocket computers. Apple made their VR headset, and it flopped because there was no market demand for expensive VR headsets. You got the Control Ultimate Edition. Can't put it down. Thanks, Lono. You're welcome. I'm continuing the evolutionary model. The first life form that falls into a new niche explodes. That niche was there before the explosion. So you're arguing, are you arguing Are you arguing like some level of an eternal present? I don't quite understand. If we've never played video games before, and then the market creates video games because, they've learned that people like to be entertained, they then foster a demand for video games. It wasn't there before. Nobody could conceive of like a video game until it was there. I'm most looking forward to Control Resonant and Resonance Plague Tale Legacy. It's interesting that they both have like Resonant, a version of Resonant in their name. The market was ready for BR after the Arena era, but the Arena era came first. But why did the Arena era get anywhere? This just feels like an eternal regression, like some kind of a Pythagorean philosophy of like, well, movement's not possible because every number is infinitely divisible. So we're never really moving and movement is an illusion. It's almost like you can regress this back eternally. So there is no fostered demand. There's an eternal demand that's always been there for something even before it exists. That doesn't make much sense to me. Somebody tried making an arena game and it took off. So making the arena game doesn't foster demand for arena games? Evolution goes all the way back to the first single-celled organism. Yeah, but the idea that would then prove like a latent demand for something even before it exists, that doesn't seem to be coherent, because it can't exist until there's even like a cognitive ability to consume something entertaining like a play or a skit, right? So before Shakespeare shows up, before the first play is ever written, before the first play is ever acted out, there's already a baked-in demand for it. It doesn't foster a demand. I don't understand the coherent. There seems to be an incoherence here. Because prior to like the cognitive abilities or like ideas about language, communication, humor, those things don't exist. And then once they do exist, they don't come pre-baked with demand for satiation. We didn't know we wanted arena or battle royales until someone had the idea to begin with. You didn't know you wanted it, but you can't want something that doesn't exist yet. There's not an a priori demand for battle royale. That's my point. So are you agreeing with me, Wheeze? Like, you can't want it until it's there, and then once it's there, you're like, yeah, I really like this. This isn't a chicken or the egg scenario. You didn't have a baked-in demand for pizza. The first time you tasted pizza, you were like, this ingredient combination's phenomenal. Now I want more pizza. The first time you tasted a chocolate chip cookie, you were like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. Now I want more chocolate chip cookies. It fosters demand by you experiencing it. The demand develops over time. The market is organic. It's an unknown unknown, not a known unknown. It's not our job to want things. It's the dev's job to show us the things that we want. We're getting into like the era of like stating something that sounds philosophically impressive, but it doesn't say anything. You're not saying anything. What do you mean? It's their job to show us what we want? What? Huh? That's so incredibly false. People made a thing and you tried it and realized, hey, I like this. But the like didn't pre-exist. We're disagreeing on the definition of demand. We didn't wake up and go, man, I sure hope someone invents a battle royale. That's what I'm saying. There was not there was not a moment prior to that where you wanted it and you just didn't know you wanted it. It's not there before. I mean, being remotely philosophical. Oh, it's very philosophical to say they have to show us the things that we want. It's like, but how do they know what we want if we don't say it? If we're like, well, we want quality games, or we want PvP games, or we want single player games, right? Like, they don't have to dream up something and create something that like, well, we haven't made this yet. Like, so before the first battle royale existed, You didn't come pre-baked with a desire for Battle Royale that you were unaware of, and then the game tapped into it. The game gave you a new experience. You tried it and you said, I actually like this. This is enjoyable. Now you have a desire for more. We have an innate desire to be entertained, that's all. The form of entertainment is not in demand until it's created. This is 100% a chicken and the egg situation. Is the demand the product meets already existing, or did the product create the demand? I think it's almost simultaneous. It's like it's almost like the idea of I don't want to get into like a theological discussion, because this is something that theologians discuss about. Yeah, it's a both and. Like, it both fosters the demand and creates the demand, but it does tap into something that's already there. There's a prior condition of humanity that's already there, that we like to be entertained. We like to have our brains stimulated, right? We like little chemicals to fire and go off in our brains. We like that. We come to the table already wired like that. And a game or a movie or a TV show comes in and says, we're going to poke your brain in different ways and little pieces are going to light up. And if we light it up in the right way, you're going to want to keep doing this and you're going to keep coming back. So they foster the demand for more by tapping into something that was already there. But you didn't come pre-baked with a demand and a desire to play Battle Royale. You don't even know what Battle Royale is before you experience it. Someone created a thing, you tried it, realized, I like this. You didn't know you wanted it. Someone has to have an idea and you tried it and now you want the thing. Liking entertainment isn't some crazy esoteric knowledge. Liking specific things in specific ways to be entertained requires someone to create the thing, not some innate ethereal knowledge. Right. Even the phrase, you didn't know you wanted it, okay? Chronologically, that's a bit nonsensical. You didn't know you wanted Battle Royale until you played Battle Royale. Chronologically, you didn't want Battle Royale until you played it and decided that you liked it. There was no moment prior to that time that you wanted it and you were just kind of like unaware of the desire. The desire hadn't been fostered yet. Until you taste ice cream for the first time, you're not sitting there oblivious to your own desire for ice cream. It doesn't exist chronologically in you until you experience it. So you're not like, I had no idea how much I wanted ice cream until I had ice cream. No, there was no prior moment where you wanted it. Am I making sense? Am I making sense? It's not my job to want it. It's a dev's job to show me the things I will want. Yeah. Right? It's there. They build something that's so stimulating and so enjoyable that you then want more. That's not philosophy. That's how stuff works. I mean, we are definitely wandering into the territory of philosophy. Like, if you're talking about humanity and how we're wired and what we like and don't like, you get into chicken egg discussions about this. That is 100% philosophical. You are attempting to come up with an explanation for the whole, which is what philosophy attempts to do. You're trying to explain how humans work within this system. That is 100% a philosophical discussion. That's why babies react the way they do to something new. If they could reliably create demand, then how do any products fail? You're 100% attempt. Yeah, so much of game development and so much of launching games is throwing things at the wall, for sure. Yes. You're throwing things at the wall, and the wall is the human brain, hoping that it sticks. Like, that's what it is. This collective group, this big giant human brain collective of gamers, you're throwing things at it and being like, I really hope this sticks and that people want more. Recreating someone else's successful gameplay loop doesn't mean you'll be successful, but yes, demand needs to satisfy some pre-existing desire. Or it can foster a new one. It can totally foster a new one. If you've never played a Metroidvania before, or you've never played a Battle Royale before, or you've never played a looter shooter, and that gameplay loop tickles your brain in a particular way, your proclivities, your affinities, and you're like, I want more of this, that was not a pre-existing desire. It was something that they fostered in you. They gave you a new experience, and you're like, yes. The first time I bit into a reverse sear ribeye steak, I was like, I want to experience this again. This is so excellent. There wasn't a pre-existing desire for the ribeye until I tasted it. Like Lono said, you weren't born liking ice cream. You tried it and realized I like ice cream. There's nothing coded in your DNA to know you or like ice cream. There's only a thing coded for your taste and desire for sugars and fats. And even then, certain combinations don't land on your palate and you think it tastes bad. See my last, says Kage Williams. Wait, could it be like, say, back in the day, people knew, so they see the market, make a shooter, blow things up? I'm not freaking reading that. That's exactly why they got into using psychology for game dev. Hero shooters are at an all-time low in demand. High Guard is about to find out. You desired it enough to try it the first time? No, you might not desire it at all. You might just be curious. Curiosity and desire are not the same thing. If I'm curious about a show, I don't desire to watch the show. I'm checking it out. I'm curious. I don't have like a desire like, oh, I've got to see more episodes. It's like, no, it could be crap. I could hate it. Like I watch it. This is awesome. I'm intrigued. They've created enough mystery, right? I'm gonna go. I'm gonna want to experience more. So there's no. I didn't have a desire for Battle Royale. People told me it was fun and I should try it out, and I was like, okay, I'll check it out of curiosity. It's a philosophical disagreement. I won't argue that people didn't want BR until they tried BR. I think people were tired of Arena and needed something streamable. We don't actually disagree. Okay, well, I think at some level the original claim was there was a latent desire for it. Like the market doesn't foster demand. There's latent desire for it already, or there's latent demand already. That's where I tripped up, and I was like, wait a minute. There's entire industries of games right now that didn't exist. They threw it out there. People got hooked by it. And this actually gets really interesting because the games that seem to be the most manipulative really tap into this more. They tap into this more than other games. Like, they understand latent desire and brain science and psychology, and they build a game around that. So much of what goes into FOMO and monetization practices and these mobile games, you know, and the gacha systems and pity systems, and like, you know, and there's even, not even, it doesn't have to be gacha. There's plenty of mobile games that do this. They're built around latent desire in the human brain. And all it does is hit the right buttons so you just keep coming back. Like that, I think what you're talking about is very easily measurable because of that. Without using specific words, are we denying that FPSs were immensely popular in America while other games were popular in other regions? I don't know, though. Like, the popularity of shooters in America and also Europe, it could be tied to any number of things. It could be tied to movies. It could be tied to Rambo and Arnold Schwarzenegger and, you know, seeing the action hero. Like, I don't think it's a coincidence that you've got games like Duke Nukem and others that just very, very clearly are adjacent and influenced by Arnold Schwarzenegger and movies with, you know, the hero running around guns blazing, and which is certainly, you know, rooted in probably the country's history, but at the same time, that wasn't like a latent desire, I don't think, that like people had. Like, yeah, I want to do that. You experience it and you're like, this is cool, I want to do this again. Why do Asian countries accept pay to win while the US and Europe don't? I don't know. It could be related to honor shame. And in many cases, honor shame can create this idea that it's shameful to be poor. So spending money is a flex of wealth and power, that's not dishonorable. You're rich. You have disposable income, right? In East Asia, it's more based on their work culture. Yeah, it's probably multifaceted. At a very, very ground level, though, their ideas about honor and shame culturally could make them just more receptive to the idea that it's not shameful to buy power in a video game. That's a sign of power, that I have money to spend. Yeah, I bought my way to this really awesome character. That's a sign of strength and power. I'm not weak. I'm not poor. I've got money. At some level, that could be active. And those reasons is historically tied to how this workforce historically was unemployed. So their I don't understand what you're saying, like work culture. Like, are they just too busy? And so any money they have, they just spend it, instead of grinding, they spend it to bypass grind, or they spend it to have stuff. It's like, they have more, essentially, are you saying they have more money than time? What? Is this I feel like this is the second time they've done this. Yeah. Trying to pay us for some reason. Now I'm hungry for steak, mozzarella sticks, and a banana split. It seems like curiosity can't exist without desire. Your desire to know the thing you're curious about. Desire to understand the unknown is what turns into curiosity. Right, and so categorically, Sven, if I'm curious about Expedition 33, I've never liked turn-based games, and I'm curious to see if this one's any good, okay? My desire is not to play Expedition 33. My desire is to have my curiosity satiated. Like, there's an order of operation happening. Like, I am curious. I don't desire to play the game yet. I might hate it. I might not like it at all. It might be tepid and boring. Curiosity is the driving force there. It's like, I want to have my curiosity satiated. Right? If you tell me there's something really exciting behind the curtain, and what's behind the curtain is a melting block of ice, and I pull back the curtain because I'm curious, you're like, see? You had a desire to see a melting block of ice. No, I didn't. I wanted to know what in the world was behind the curtain. My curiosity wanted to be satisfied. Now that it's satisfied, I can conclude, I don't want to watch this. It's just boring. It's a melting block of ice. Do you see? It's like, I wanted to pull back the curtain on the game. That satisfied my curiosity, which was then precipitated by, I desire this game. I want to continue playing this game now. Instead of, I desired to play it to begin with. I might not have. I might have ended up feeling like it was boring or crappy. I did play Death Stranding 2. I liked it a lot. I didn't like it as much as the first game. I felt like the story had some, I felt like he made some missteps. I felt like he showed too much before it came out. There are some pretty significant scenes that I just don't think he should have shown. That makes sense. This is fun. So what you're saying is that you are a bot, pre-programmed, nothing is in your control. Like I said, there's no way to talk about this without getting philosophical. Like, you're getting into like your anthropology, your view of humanity, your study of humanity. Like, what do you think humans are? How are we wired? How do we think? What do we think? Free will, blah, blah, blah. You mentioned FOMO, and that's probably got a lot to do with it. Make people think that they got to play, and if the loop is good, maybe they'll stay. I don't know. Yeah, I let my kiddos play pretty crappy mobile games at one point, and I wanted them to hit the wall where you run out of turns. I wanted to give them a distaste for it. You guys remember the old adage where, like, if you caught your kid with cigarettes, you'd make them smoke the whole pack till they throw up, and then they're never going to want to smoke again, right? It was a similar idea. It was like they kept asking to play these stupid mobile games on the iPad. You know, they'd play for 5 or 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever, and then they put it down. And I was really trying to keep them from playing it because I thought, no, I don't want you playing those games. I want you playing like good games. You know, play Minecraft, play Kirby, play something with, intention behind it. Well, they were playing. I don't even know what the game was. My daughter's playing. She's playing, and she can't beat the level or whatever it was. She runs out of turns, and it wants money. And I'm like, we're not doing that. We agreed we wouldn't spend money on these games, so you're done. And she's very upset, right? At the time, when she's 12 now, she's 9 or something. She's 9 or 10. And so she's upset. 9 or 10-year-old, overly stimulated from the device, starts crying. And I tell her, I was like, you know how you feel right now? You feel bad, right? Yeah. You feel sad, right? Yeah. It's really unsatisfying, isn't it? Yeah. They want you to feel that way. And she got even more upset. Now she's not upset, like crying. Now she's indignant. Now she's angry. Why? Why would they do that? Why would they make a game to make me feel this way? Because when you feel this way, you're going to give money to the game to no longer feel this way. They want you to feel bad because then you're more likely to give them money so that you feel good. And they don't ask to play those games all that often anymore. She can't recognize she's being manipulated on her own, really asking, I don't know, kids? No. I helped her see the scam. I helped her see it. Like, listen, look at what the game did to you. It made it difficult. It made it unsatisfying. And then it says, now give me money. Right? I helped her see the scaffolding behind everything. And then it was like, oh, well, I don't want to play a game like that. You're darn right you shouldn't want to. I don't like when they buy those stupid RNG toys. You don't know what you're going to get. Are you going to get Thor or are you going to get Spider-Man? I hate those. I tell them, I was like, that is not a value proposition. It's a game. You're not buying a toy. You're buying a game. You're buying a risk. It's a scratch off for a kid. I hate those toys. Because you buy one and you're like, oh, I didn't get the one that I wanted. I got Thor instead of Spider-Man. We'll buy another one. You might get Thor again. It's gambling for kids. I hate those toys. Yeah, I just tried to give her the tools so that she could see this video game's playing you. You're not playing it. It's dangling the bright lights and the cool feeling and the, ooh, yeah, you got to the next level. And then all of a sudden it says, it'd be a shame if we didn't let you beat this level. It'd be a shame if all of a sudden we robbed you of that dopamine hit that we've been giving you for the past 45 minutes. But you want that again? You want to feel this again? It feels good, doesn't it? Yeah, pay us $1. The first hit's free, right? Some mobile games, that's what they are. They're drug dealers. So I tried to show her that. So like now I want them playing games like she beat Kirby and the Forgotten World, Forgotten Land. Kirby and the Forgotten Land, she beat that. She beat Stray. I've tried to have her have those experiences. Like she's very proud of some of the games she beat. She beat Hi-Fi Rush. They got the Fortnite bug now. It's fine. They're working together. She's got pretty good at the game. She's gotten some actual victories in Battle Royale, right? And then she wants to get the K-pop skins and stuff, and that's fine. Like, all of her friends love K-pop. But at least she's playing something where there is a mission, there's an objective, there's challenges in front of her, there's disappointment. Sometimes she loses. Sometimes I'm like, one more game, kiddo. And 68th place. Sorry. You know, and her feeling upset and angry and having to process that, walk through it, calm herself down and put the game down, I think is a good lesson. Like, she's not being manipulated like, hey, give us money. Obviously, all video games are doing this to a degree. Like, to a degree, they're saying, hey, you're having a good time, keep playing. And children don't have self-control, so you have to shut the thing off after so many hours, or they'll play until they're miserable. You know, we structure it around where when they're done, we go upstairs and eat lunch. And we feel like that's a really good, like, detox. It's like, okay, boom, now you're giving your body, you know, protein and sugars and energy. And once they're done doing that, you know, go outside, play a board game, do something else. Like, that's a really good gear shift that we have found with them. Because they feel crummy afterwards. They start picking at each other. You know, they got to kind of come down from that. I'll never forget being stationed in Japan and having a friend who burned all of his money on gacha BS, and that was what opened my eyes to how disgusting the entire thing is and what developed my hatred for gacha games, and before someone calls me self-righteous. You out here spitting, gotta start them young, respect. Yeah, and to this day, if she asks to play one of those mobile games, right, because every once in a while she just wants to, react to something. I'm sorry, not react to something, she just wants to play something. You know, she'll play for 20 minutes or whatever. When she runs out of turns, you know what? Well, now she's on to the game. Now she knows. And so she just shuts it off. She knows that, oh, you're trying to get money from me. Check Discord. Dark patterns are games playing you. You should react to this topic. What we got here? 16-minute video from Chris Wilson. It's a month old. Dark patterns are everywhere in modern games, from login streaks, time-gated events, manipulative monetization. In this video, I explain how these systems work, why they're so effective, and how they impact both players in the industry. We can do that. I did have some other things I was going to react to today as well, and I do need a quick break. I've been sitting in the chair for almost 3 hours. Finally back. What's good, Jack Garland? Don't you dare go to members yet. I got something to say about what people want. Okay. I need a quick break, and then we got some videos we need to react to, because we're getting close to the 3-hour mark. I need a ton of likes. We need the like count to go up. YouTube did something weird today, and I don't know. Every once in a while, there's like blips and glitches in the matrix, and I don't know what YouTube did today, so we're going to need some likes on this vid. I was having trouble using the platform this morning, so I'm wondering if that's, hopefully you guys weren't having any trouble. When it comes to what gamers want, you got to look through the perspective of the creator. Okay, you got to elaborate. I'm not sure what you mean. It's work friendly. He doesn't curse. Okay. Got to do work stuff. Lono isn't banning me for arguing with him this time. Shut up, Zubair. Call she has to have the worst AI I've ever seen. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Do platitudes count as likes? No. It says 220. No, the like count's not what's messing up the stream, and likes can help. Something weird happened this morning. I don't know what it was. I don't know. When the platform's acting like that, I just have to press on and hope it's fine. It was just being really weird this morning. Go on break. Okay, I'm going to take my break, and then we've got some stuff to react to. So when I get back, make sure you guys are doing all the things. If you haven't hit subscribe yet and you've been watching on YouTube, we don't require a subscription to talk in chat anymore. I want you to subscribe because you want to come back every day, not just to chat. So, got to bounce. No problem, Sethians. So, all right, give me 1 second. And hopefully, I've rearranged some things in the office. Hopefully I don't get a big static shock when I get up now. That's been a problem. I've got like a mat underneath the chair. My slippers are off. I got a humidifier in the room. I'm doing everything I can. So let's cross our fingers here. No, it did it. It's this chair. It's a static machine. I can hear it when I stand up. I've got the chair on a mat and everything. Stupid. Bravo. Catching straight by being a chair. I don't understand, man. I don't understand. I'm gonna have to get one of those like actual something mats from frickin' Amazon or something. I have like a rubber mat that's the chair is on. I've got a humidifier going. I don't get it. I've never had this problem, and now all of a sudden, this whole room is like a static box, and I'm like, I get that it's cold, but dude, I've lived in this house for 6 years. I've never had this problem before. All of a sudden, the only thing I can think that changed is I cut the section of the rug out where the chair is. One of the kids was cracking up. Yeah, my son scared me, so he's really pleased with himself. That's the only thing I can think that changed. Is we had that flood, and I had to cut a piece of the rug out. So, like, the chair is just sitting here, I don't know, like, emanating static or something. I can't get a discharge before I get up out of the chair. I don't know what to do. I was putting my feet on a rubber mat last night before standing up, and it was still happening. It's the chair, so I thought, well, I'll put the chair on the rubber mat. It's still happening. I stand up and I can hear it. There's just all this static, and it makes the monitors flicker. And I'm like, that's not good. I can't figure out how to get rid of it. A man has an idea, the idea grows, the idea attracts others like mine, and the idea becomes the institution. Finally coming back to games. Good games are born from creative people experimenting on their own insights and desires. They put their ideas into practice, and they succeed. What do you put, a jumper over the chair? Anything cloth I put over, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to conduct static electricity. Air filter with an ionizer and ground the chair. Use dryer sheets. Yeah, is there a way to ground the chair? I think that's what I really need to do. If the chair is the problem. Need something metal to ground on before you get up. Happens to me in my truck, so I touch the outside before getting up. I don't think there's anything. That's what's crazy. Is there's like almost like nothing like metal on the chair. It could be you. It's me. I'm a static ball all of a sudden. I don't understand it. People had all kind of ideas yesterday in Green Room. They're like, get a humidifier, get a mat, do this, do that. And so I put the humidifier in there. I put a mat on the floor to put my feet on before standing up, and it was still happening. Plug the chair into a grounded outlet, obviously. That's right. It used to happen with the light switch. I'd come into the room, I'd go to turn the light switch on, and my finger would go past the screw in the wall, and I'd get this big, huge shock. That typically would happen around this time of year. So, yeah. We need something because it's it's not good, and I don't have any control over it. There's only so much I can do. You know what I mean? I have the same problem. Let me know when you have a solution. We're trying all kinds of things. Touching grass usually helps. That's right. Anyways. You're a mutant, time to join the X-Men? It's starting to feel that way. Take the plastic wheels off? Huh? That's what's weird. The back wheels are literally touching a rubber mat. I thought that would fix it. It's I mean, I'm not kidding. I stand up and it's like when you pull a sweater out of the dryer. It's like you can just hear it. It's just like, it's like, what the heck? I tried to chime in on the conversation about what gamers want. Sadly, the conversation moved on to Static Shock. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the train's kind of left the station. It's hard to go back and retread. It's tough. Let's see if he has. Let's see if he has music playing.
A friend of mine carried a laptop 6 kilometers through the bush just to log.
Okay, hang on. I think we can probably leave our music on. I might turn it down, though. Just so we have something. Electro struck again. Yeah, it keeps happening. I have a grounding mat at my desk while I work. I think I'm going to have to get one of those and, like, put it at my feet or something. Let's see. There we go. Okay. Let's get the goal off. We'll come here. No goal here. Okay. So we were discussing, the reason we're watching this is because we were discussing something that I was doing with mobile games and my kiddos. I was like trying to expose them to the bad habits, the desires, the structures of these games, how they kind of manipulate us. And somebody said, well, we should watch this video by Chris Wilson, Dark Patterns, Are Your Games Playing You? So let's check it out.
A few years ago, a friend of mine carried a laptop 6 kilometers through the bush just to log into a game and keep a daily login streak alive. That's not fun. That's not entertainment. That's a dark pattern. Hi, I'm Chris Wilson. In this video, I want to show you how some modern games manipulate your schedule, your wallet, and even your friendships. You may have heard the term dark pattern before. It refers to a design that deliberately manipulates user behavior, usually to get those users to spend money or engage more than they intended. A classic example is a hotel site flashing scarcity cues like, "Only one room left, 4 people are booking right now." You also see services that are easy to sign up for but hard to cancel. Confirm shaming buttons that say, "I'd rather pay full price." Optional extras like shipping insurance being automatically added to your shopping cart, or pop-ups that say, "Don't leave yet, you have unpurchased items."
Yeah, I think the reason people suggested that I watch this is literally because I was doing that with my daughter. I was like letting her play, and I was letting her experience the disappointment. I let her get to the end of her lives. I let her get to the point where she couldn't play anymore and they wanted money. She's upset. She's crying, right? This is a couple of years ago. So she's like 9 years old. She's super upset. And I told her, the game designers want you to feel this way. You're upset now. You're dissatisfied. She says, yes. Like through tears, she's like, yes. And I was like, yeah, they want you to feel that way. Well, she switched from sadness to anger when I told her that. She was like, why? Why would they design the game this way? I'm like, because they're trying to extract money from you. She since doesn't really ask to play games like that all that often. And if she does, she's on to the game. She knows what it's doing. Both my kiddos now don't really have a desire to play these games. They just don't. And if they do, they know not to fall prey to trying to get them to buy stuff. They get annoyed with the pop-ups and stuff, which I'm thankful that they have that level of awareness now. It'll help them as they get older playing games and as monetization structures change.
Dark patterns like these are increasingly common, to the point where regulators and consumer groups are starting to push back. Today I want to talk about a less discussed form of dark patterns, and that's their use in the games that we play and make. Given how much money is made by the games industry, it's no surprise that some developers are applying psychological principles to the reward systems of their games, to manipulate players into engaging more. In this video, I'm not talking about gameplay systems that are intentionally addictive or immersive. That's part of the entertainment you signed up for. I'm talking about the meta systems, monetization tricks, retention loops, psychological hooks, and UI traps that manipulate you outside of the actual gameplay. Another way to look at this is, if a developer focuses on making a game as compelling as it possibly can be, and it ends up really fun, interesting, and makes players want to play it again and again, then that developer won't need to rely on manipulative psychological tricks to artificially improve their metrics. Okay, enough preamble. Let's get into some dark patterns.
So, I think the difficulty here is, obviously we know game companies are doing this, and obviously if you're playing a game and it's sort of right there in the beginning, then you're going to say, oh, I know what they're doing. The real trick is when this stuff doesn't show up right away. When this stuff shows up later, and they've already kind of got you hooked, or you have sunk costs, you've played for 10 hours, 20 hours, 30 hours, whatever. That's, I think, going to be the one that's more hard, or more difficult, I should say, to... Not more difficult to deduce, but I think more difficult to break from. You're like, well, they've got me, man. I made it all this way. I've been playing all this time. Sunk cost fallacy is going to fire in your brain, and it's going to make these dark patterns harder to fight against.
So, like with non-game products, user interface dark patterns are common. For example, some mobile games ask you to rate them out of 5 stars. If you pick 5, you're sent straight to the App Store to leave a review. Anything less sends you to a developer feedback form instead. This quietly biases actual reviews towards higher ratings by making lower scoring reviews harder to leave. Another example of a user interface dark pattern is a game that allows you to spend real money to level up gems that can be socketed into your gear. But players might find that once they have completely maxed out a gem at great expense, more sockets appear, requiring them to spend more money than they initially intended to completely max out their character.
This was something that they did in Diablo Immortal, didn't they? Like, you could spend money to get the things to increase the drop rate, but then, like, once you did it, more of them opened up and you could do more. So it basically created, like, a procedural engagement pattern of, like, well, now that you've already kind of done it, you can do more. And that was sort of like, it was a bit of a bait and switch, but it's also a form of procedural engagement. Like, there's actual design philosophy behind websites with procedural engagement, getting people to procedurally give you more and more information about themselves, and that can be applied inside of something like this. And I remember them doing something specifically like that in Diablo Immortal.
This moving of the goalposts could potentially manipulate players into thinking they were going to complete their character for one price when it actually costs a lot more. They may not have committed to spending as much if they knew that from the start. Dark patterns in games extend far beyond just deceptive user interfaces, though. They're typically categorized as temporal, social, psychological, and monetary dark patterns. I've put some links to some of my references that have comprehensive lists in the video description, but I'll go through a few of the major ones with you right now. Before we get started, I should note that pretty much any mechanism that tries to manipulate a change in user behavior is considered a dark pattern in games, but the severity varies a lot. Some of them are much more mild than others, and a lot of different opinions about which of them are harmless and which are going too far.
Right, like I would say, you know, if you've got a battle pass and you've got login bonuses or login streak bonuses, I think those are fairly harmless. I don't think those are as bad, especially if it's free. Like if as long as you're logging in, you get like a free item. That certainly is manipulative, and they certainly are trying to get your loyalty not based on gameplay, but based on like a little teeny carrot that they're going to give you. I think that's probably like the least offensive form. I think the far more offensive forms of this is like a withholding structure or a squeezed structure so that you feel pain, and the only way to alleviate the pain is to spend money. I think those are the ones that are far more egregious, and sometimes they're really hard to detect, especially for younger and more impressionable gamers.
I'll weigh in with my personal feelings about this later in the video. Many live service games have daily login rewards. In behavioral psychology, when an action is followed by a reward, your brain learns to repeat it. Every day that you log in and receive this reward, you'll get a hit of dopamine, building a habit over time. Players who are conditioned to logging in every day do it not because they're excited to play, but because it feels like brushing their teeth, just something they have to do. Some games have login streaks. This is where the rewards escalate for each sequential day you log in. When you break the streak, your rewards reset back down to the minimum level. Now, humans have a strong sense of loss aversion, where losses feel roughly twice as bad as gains feel good, and hence players will go significantly out of their way to avoid breaking these streaks. As I mentioned before, I have a friend who was on an off-the-grid camping trip and had to walk 6 kilometers with his laptop and a 3G modem so he could keep a login streak going in some random game he was playing.
And this is where, like, there's two sides to the coin here. If you're able to get home every night, log into the game, and you're not feeling like you're being sort of jerked around, and you're maintaining some streak, and it's really benefiting you, okay? A lot of players are going to be in that lane. It's just what they do every day. They get home from work, log into the game, maintain the streak. They're adequately rewarded, and they're structuring the game in a way that, you know, allows them to obviously brag about their DAUs, their weekly active users, their monthly active users, things like that. It does get to a point though where, you know, self-control and discipline are a thing. Like a person that is not sort of seeing themselves in that moment, being like, does this really ultimately matter? What am I willing to kind of give up in order to get this login streak? Like there are always two sides to this discussion, especially as it pertains to adults. I'm a little bit more harsh and critical of a game that's like designed for children, but an adult that isn't self-aware enough to see the absurdity of doing that, it's equally on him and the game as well. Like, it's both. It's you can't always act like we are these sort of malleable amoebas that just get pushed around by these systems, and we're just victims, right? Like, you've got to kind of take up for yourself and be like, okay, I'm not going to let this game play me. As the title of the video says, are your games playing you?
There are even games out there that let you pay real money to restore a broken streak. In addition to daily login bonuses, many games have daily tasks or challenges which reset every 24 hours. Players feel obliged to complete these so that the easy rewards don't go to waste. They don't want to miss out on cheap progress that everyone else is getting. Some games rely on dark patterns rooted in social obligation to manipulate you into behaving differently. For example, it's common for mobile base builder games to have guilds or clans where daily participation, like doing quests or donating resources, is important for your guild to succeed. If you don't log in each day and perform these actions, you let your friends down, which causes guilt and social pressure for you to be active daily.
I got kicked out of a Marvel Puzzle Quest clan because I wasn't active enough for like one day. There was like something that was going on, and I got into like a really, really good clan, and it was helpful. It was actually really, really helpful to be in a clan. Like you could make good progress and get a lot of stuff unlocked and get a lot of stuff in the game if you were in a clan. And they literally kicked me out. And I was like, why'd you kick me out? He's like, you weren't active enough. There was like this 1 hour period where you weren't playing. And I was like, what the heck? I was like, it was like an hour. I was like eating lunch or something. And I was putting a lot of time into that game. And I didn't spend money, but there definitely was that element of like, if you keep going, you get benefits. If you don't, you get kicked out and you lose all those benefits.
This dark pattern can exploit and strain our friendships, especially when the game is tuned to make daily participation essentially mandatory.
Right?
Other games feature gifting between players, where reciprocation of gifts is rewarded with extra bonuses. This taps into reciprocity pressure to cause you to feel the need to log in daily and return gifts to people. Some games have refer a friend bonuses, or even outright pyramid schemes, where you make faster progress if you have recruited an extensive network of friends to join the game and play with you. Time-gated tasks, or playing by appointment, are when a game tells you have to come back at a specific time or face consequences. Popularized by farming games where your crops would wither and die if not harvested at the right time, the game forces control of your schedule, sometimes making you wake up in the middle of the night to click buttons or lose your investment.
Do you find that kind of engagement becomes superficial, though, and can actually ruin long-term player bases? I think that's an excellent question, Omar. I think we saw that in Splitgate 1. Some of the most strongest reasons to re-engage with Splitgate 1 were the login bonuses and the login streaks. The gameplay itself obviously was, it was an arena shooter. So I've said this many times, arena shooters are a bit of a meat grinder, and I think they're going to have, they're going to struggle to maintain player bases and re-engagement patterns. And if your re-engagement patterns are associated around that, it can become problematic. Somebody did an interview recently where they talked about that, where like they were trying to get people to engage more often and more regularly, and so they did a double XP bonus. And when they did the double XP bonus, what happened is player behavior sort of morphed around that, and then people would only really play when you were doing the double XP bonus. So you're wielding a weapon that can be very effective, but it can also be very destructive. Like, a fire hose is great for putting out a fire. It's not good for watering your garden. It would be destructive. It would rip the ground up and kill all of the plants. The water's coming out too strong, right? It's a tool for a particular purpose. So some of these tools are good for particular purposes, but long term, they could probably be more detrimental to your actual health and engagement, which again could be problematic because then the company is going to be incentivized knowing that the road's going to run out, like they're going to run out a railroad track. They're going to try and squeeze everything they can out of the players before that happens.
Contemporary mobile games often have timers and energy mechanics, where your ability to progress the game is blocked until you come back when these resources have regenerated. While this is less harsh than your crops being completely lost, you'll feel pressure to come back at exactly the right time to maximize your rate of progress. When you're not the one deciding when you play the game, but instead having the game decide for you, it's worth questioning your entire relationship with that game.
That's really, really well stated. Like I've said before, the games are here to serve us. We are not here to serve the games. And now I typically say that if I'm not enjoying a game, if a game is very frustrating, if it's not giving me what I want to extract out of it, which is enjoyment and fun, if I'm frustrated and angry and not having a good time, then I'm not extracting the value out of the relationship that I paid for, so I'm going to put the game down. Similarly, if you detect that happening with a live service game or some kind of a game where there's monetization and this sort of ongoing relationship, if you start to feel like you're not playing the game's playing you, you're not being served by the game, but you're serving the game, that's when it's time to disengage and play something else, I would say.
Some live service games create artificial scarcity for their store items. As entirely digital purchases, there's no physical requirement to limit the number of people who can purchase something, but doing so often causes it to sell much faster due to players fearing they're going to miss out. This pattern is similar to the one employed in gacha games, where they often have certain characters available for purchase only occasionally, causing a frenzy of activity when they are. Not only does this cause more sales, but it conditions players to check in with the game daily to see if the character they want is available for sale. There are a variety of dark patterns related to premium currency in games. Developers can design their premium currency packs to be slightly too small to buy the most desirable items, requiring players to purchase more premium currency at once than they plan to. Developers can pick arbitrary exchange rates for their premium currency, so that players can't really understand the true cost of the item they're buying.
This also gets into you spend $20, right? And because that's all you can buy in order to get the $15 thing. So there's a $10 amount and there's a $20 amount of the currency. there is no 15. So like the item that's $15, you don't use all of the 20. So now you have this leftover amount. Like they do this on purpose as well, because like, well, now I'm going to have to buy more currency. They're basically getting you to sink cost into the store rather than just going to the store and saying, I want that cape, here's the $15. It's, no, you need $20 of the currency. Now you have 5 left over. Now you have a perpetual sunk cost into their store where you're continually feeling that pressure to spend more money.
Cheap items can be placed next to expensive items in the store to make them look like better value. Some games employ special in-game or monetization events that are time-limited or seasonal. The content and rewards are only available for a limited time window. Players do not want to miss out on a unique reward that may never be available again, so this limited availability causes fear of missing out, which leads to intense and anxious play during the event window. There's also a phenomenon called the endowed progress effect, which shows that if players are given a head start on a reward track, then they are far more likely to finish the rest of that track so that they don't waste the progress they have so far, even though they didn't even make that progress themselves.
So, yeah, this is exactly what I've, tried to instill in my kids, and I've tried to get them to play games where there is a sense of satisfaction, there is a sense of finishing it, there's not all this, like, manipulative stuff in it, especially in games like mobile games. And I've tried to really push them into games where there's a beginning, middle, and an end. There's a completion. And they went through a phase where they were doing that. And now they are sort of on the Fortnite bug. But even within Fortnite, I encourage them to play games where there's a beginning, middle, and an end. And there's a sense of progress, leveling. My daughter's been winning Battle Royale matches, right? Yeah, I'm pretty proud of her for that. But they are sort of starting to look at the store. And they're falling prey to, oh, the skin's going to go away, or I got to do this, or I got to do that, and I'm this level. And they learned very quickly, like when the season reset, they lost all their progress. And so I'm glad they sense that feeling of loss, because it's like, now that's normal. Yeah, you're going to get to the end of the season, you just didn't get everything. You didn't get all the little things and all the little dollary dues that you need to spend. And so they're just kind of accustomed to that now. And sometimes they'll see a skin and they want it, and they're like, oh, it's going to go away. And I'm like, yep, sorry, we're not buying that. Because it's difficult, I think, for them to see, the manipulation until you sort of alert them to it. So I don't want to react to the whole video, though. We're only about halfway through. I think that's sufficient to kind of get the point across that, like, you've really got to be careful with this, and and helping your kids see that a game can be playing them instead of the other way around. Yeah, I don't want that to turn into like too long of a segment. We're like only 7 minutes into like a 17-minute video. If you guys want to watch the whole thing, I'll give you guys a link in chat. If you guys want to check out the whole video, you can. We'll link that below as well. I love mobile games where I do all the dailies in like an hour. Yeah, and again, if you're having a good time and it's fine and you don't feel like you're sort of being jerked around, and you don't feel like you're like, wasting your money or your own time, I think that that's totally fine. I again think you just got to be careful with a game that starts to play you and you're not playing the game any longer. I think that's always going to be a risk. And as long as you're aware and you're paying attention, then you're less likely to be taken advantage of. So, hang on, I'm going to my history here. I wanted to watch this one with you guys about, yeah, here we go. Hang on. Let me mute so you guys don't get like blown out all of a sudden. Okay, so I wanted to watch this one with you guys. I wanted to watch this one with you guys about Arc Raiders and PvP. We know this is an ongoing debate. There's a lot of different opinions on aggression-based matchmaking, but the new thing is that people are really sort of upset at what the CEO said about how the game's not really about PvP. So I've got a video here from, you can see here, from Jay Bowman Demand. He says this is proof of why PvP is so important to Arc Raiders. And so we're going to be checking this video out and reacting to it. And I'm curious what he's going to say, because I've said similar things. I've been like, listen, there is an element of the game where you need PvP. I think the PvE guys go too far and they want PvP completely removed. I think they're wrong. I'm interested in what he's going to say, because if he thinks it's important, what exactly does he mean by that? So always support the original content. Let's see what he has to say. And I muted it. Sorry.
Today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the CEO over at Embark, obviously the individuals who put together Arc Raiders, had a very interesting statement, but I think it really showcases why PvP is so crucial in Arc Raiders. I still, to this very day, see people say that, PvP is a curse to this game. It's horrible, and it's doing more damage than good. But I beg to differ. And again, as I stated, it's pretty funny because the CEO isn't necessarily saying PvP is fantastic, but there's a partial little, thing that the CEO says.
Before he gets into it, I've not pre-watched this. Before he gets into it, I'm going to say that the CEO has confirmed two things. He's confirmed that it is important. You can't remove it entirely, right? You cannot say to the PvE guys, yeah, sure, we're going to let you turn it off. I agree. I think the CEO's statements actually affirm that, but I also think he affirms this game really is not about PvP, and if that's how you're playing, the game's never really going to cater to you. They're not going to create ladders and competitive elements. So both of the extremes, I think, are being corrected by what the CEO said.
That confirms to me exactly why it's needed within the overall experience. But as you guys can see right here from Arc Raiders alerts, they said Embark CEO says that engaging in PvP is against the ethos of Arc Raiders. He clarifies that the game's core design isn't about actively encouraging players to shoot each other. Instead, the PvP element is primarily used to create tension and uncertainty. Now, of course, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take a little second so you guys can hear the exact words that the CEO has said himself. So let's go ahead and check this out, and we'll discuss afterwards.
The game isn't about shooting other players. You can do that if you want to, but that's not kind of the ethos of the game. Has never been to go in and shoot players. We want that, to your point, you described it really well. It's a part that we use to craft tension and for you to feel like, the game was without other players for a long time. And yes, there were instances where the game was fun and there were areas where it worked quite well, but also the minute you added other players and then use subtle ways of signaling, you don't know how many players are on the server, you don't know how many players have died, you don't know how many players are around you, but
that actually is interesting, because the people that keep calling it a PvP game, if you look at a battle royale, if you look at PvP games, those stats are always immediately and readily available, right? How many people are alive? How many people have you killed? All of that information is right there. It's one of the reasons I've argued that if you look at a battle royale stream, the reason BRs became so streamable is it's immediately you're oriented to what's going on. You know where they are, what they're doing, how many people are alive, how many people they've killed. Arc Raiders, none of that's readily available on the screen because that's not the point.
Signal to you that there are other players, that you hear them shooting. That's why audio is a very important part of this game. You hear them encountering Arc and other players. You see the Raider flares as they go down.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, I have to say this. If PvP wasn't supposed to be up front and center, they should have not made it that much freaking fun. Again, as I stated before, engaging in this game, just the hit detection and, the notifications of seeing their shield pop and just gunfights in general. I love third-person shooters, and it just feels so good to, have that cover-based, well, not cover-based. It's not like Gears of War where you go and snag cover, but the whole idea is to, get cover, the enemy gets cover, and you have to be strategic. You have to move cover to cover, pop shots out, get back behind cover, use your lethals and all this stuff. It's not just, hey, I'm going to charge up because it's first person, he can't see me, pushing, and I'm just going to close the gap and engage.
I don't know, though, if a lot of the hardcore PvP guys would agree with him. A lot of them have said, the game just really isn't built for competitive PvP. He's not wrong that it's fun and enjoyable, but I also think saying, if you don't want PvP to be front and center, you shouldn't have made it so fun. It's well, I guess, what do you want them to do then? Make it not enjoyable? Of course they made it fun and enjoyable, but also you have to remember that a lot of the PvP guys have said this game really isn't built for excellent hit registration and a super sweaty way of playing. People are playing that way, but even they would tell you the game's not really built for that. So he's not wrong in that it's fun, but that's not really necessarily a defense for saying like, oh, well, the central point of the game is PvP because they made it fun. They've also made engaging with the arc, looting, extracting, leveling, skill tree, the PvE elements of the game are also equally fun. So that puts that argument into a bit of a stalemate.
I just love the engagements of this game. Seriously. They did an outstanding job. And for those who don't know, they actually put together Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2, which both have phenomenal gunplay for third-person shooters. So, you know, I've said this before, I really hope Embark goes out and they make an actual third-person PvP-only type of game, because they are so talented when it comes to this department. But back to the main point. Yes, I think we all understand that the ethos of the overall world here is that you're not supposed to be engaging, right? The whole idea is that it's us versus the machines. We are going to war against them. And of course, you know, they destroyed all of, you know, mankind. We had to go underground and form another civilization down there. You know, like, don't you think it's weird knowing people in Speranza? You go above ground, you see them, knock them the heck out, and then everybody comes back down underground, and they come back down with a black eye, and they look at you like, what the heck, bro? Why'd you do that to me? So
I mean, he's right, though. He's right. Like, that's kind of the interesting thing about how the game is set up is, like, you're all coming from the same place. So it would be kind of interesting to be like, yeah, there's Dave. Yeah, the other day he knocked me out and took all my stuff. So, like, that, and I appreciate that he's not arguing that they should make this game about PvP. He's like, these guys are really good. I'd love for them to make a third-person PvP game, right? So I think I actually appreciate that about this video, is that he's not saying, oh, make this PvP. He's saying PvP is super important. These guys made something that's so fun. I hope they make another game that's only PvP. I think that's a very level-headed approach to this.
So I think that we all understand that PvE is indeed still a heavy focus of Arc Raiders, right?
Yeah.
And just in the world building, the lore, we're not supposed to be engaging. We're supposed to be working with one another. It's not completely like post-apocalyptic, like zombies, for example, where we don't have a civilization underground. It's mostly just like, you know, factions above ground who are fighting for their lives to stay alive. No, like, we are all one underground, and we are bringing resources from above ground, you know, back down under to help everybody. You know, hopefully we can survive. That's the whole concept. But with that being said, you're probably sitting there thinking to yourself, well, JB, then what the heck are you talking about? How are you claiming that PvP is such an important factor for our...
This is a well-structured video. I like that he has his title. Now, it's a little risky doing this, though, because PvP fans may have clicked on his video and already left, because they're like, he's just conceding all the things that the PvE guys say. But I actually appreciate a video that'll do that, that will sort of like establish the fact that, yes, I'm not arguing that this is a PvP game or that it should be a PvP game, but now he's going to make his point. I'm interested in how he argues this part.
Raiders, when you're actively saying that PvE is still very important as well. Well, firstly, as I stated before, it's so freaking fun. I had to say it one last time because it really, genuinely is. If you don't enjoy PvP games, that's fair. But for anybody that does, and you're scared because of the third-person perspective, you are not doing yourself any favors by skipping out on this game. It is very enjoyable to get into gunfights. But pushing that aside, just like the CEO said, it's there to build tension. And that, my friends, is why PvP is so crucial in a game like Arc Raiders. I've had people constantly come to me and say that I'm a moron for saying such a thing, and PvP shouldn't be the only focus. There should definitely be PvE only types of modes in here so they can actively avoid anybody who wants to PvP. But let me tell you something.
Before he responds, I used the YouTube AI to ask if he, you know, said any swear words in the video, because I like to react to stuff that's also safe for work. YouTube said that there was a minor swear right there, and they considered moron to be a minor swear. I thought that was pretty funny. But I've said this for a long time too, and I totally agree. The game is selling you tension. It's selling you tension. Like, that's what's so enjoyable. The name of this video is "This is Proof of Why PvP is So Important to Arc Raiders." So I'll put a link in the chat and the video below for you guys to watch it later. So I want to hear how he responds to people saying this to him. They're calling him a moron.
That will get boring. It will get tedious. You see, the game, yeah, I guess they can upgrade it and start adding different levels of tiers and rebalance everything in the game, but the way that it is now, it's not like Destiny, where you go into these raids and, you get different tiers of loot, and it's really engaging and exciting. Yes, the gunfights with Ark are very exciting in Ark Raiders, and getting together and taking down a queen or the matriarch, or even just, getting jumped by certain Ark and having someone come and save the day. All of those fights are very fun. But the loot itself, yeah, it's good and all, but it's, I don't want to say it's easy to collect, but I mean, that's probably the best way I could put it. It's easy to collect. It's easy.
Well, the other thing, too, that people might be forgetting that disagree with him on this is the loot itself has an intrinsic value increase when you know the risk involved in getting out. Like, you're going to feel better about all those pinks and blueprints and things that you've got in your inventory because you got out with them. Even if you're in the more friendly lobbies, there's still the risk of a rat, there's still the risk of betrayal, and that loot has more value. I really, really think he's nailing a point here, which is it would get boring if you just went in and just kept getting better and better tiers of loot, and there was no risk involved. It's like, well, the loot's value would become very static. It just would. Right? It's the loot's value has an injection of increase of potency because of that tension that was involved when you got out with it. So I think people are kind of missing that reality, that the loot itself has value, and that value gets multiplied because of what it took to get it out. And I think that ongoing tension is attached to loot even once it's just sitting in your inventory, sitting in your vault.
Easy to gain things, and even if they made it harder to get specific items, that still wouldn't increase the fun factor, because the game would boil down to spawning in, rushing as fast as you can to the hotspots, loot as quickly as possible, and getting the heck out.
This is exactly right, too. Like, this is the other side of the rote rehearsed coin. PvP arena shooters become rote and rehearsed. You know where to go. You go to the choke points. You get some kills. You die. You do it all over again. A PvE extraction shooter could very much fall into the same problem. You know the route to run, you know where you are on the map, and if somebody beat you to the loot, you're frustrated. There's no way to get the loot, there's no way to fight, there's no way to do anything. You could negotiate and be like, hey, could you drop some of it on the ground? But if you're in someone's wake and there's nothing on the map, that happened all the time in Division 1 Survival. If you were playing the non-PvP version, you would get in somebody's wake and there'd be nothing for you to grab. And it became this rote rehearsed thing. And it would be frustrating. Well, when you have that tension there and you have that element of like, oh, I might get attacked, I might get shot, or I've got people to work with. I mean, I've always said one of the reasons it's so exciting to find people to work with is because they might not be wanting to work with you. So it increases the excitement and the reward sense of when you find a friendly player. So I think people are forgetting that fact as well. It's like, you're just going to get into a PvE rehearsed route that if somebody's beat you to the route, you're like, well, time to back out and come back in. That also, I think, would really, really hurt the addictive nature of the game. There's nothing happening that's stimulating because you're just going in and rehearsing a same pattern, and when the pattern's not rewarded, eventually, if it wasn't rewarded enough, you would just quit. You'd be like, well, I'm not getting stuff anyway. I'm running routes and everything's already taken. Right now, you might run into people and, maybe if they beat you to the route, you feel like you're going to shoot them and take it. Like, you have that choice and that option, even if you've been mostly peaceful.
And repeating. Now, yes, of course, you go against Ark bots and you can do that and have fun. But until you get to that point, the base looting, the base building of your character will just be on autopilot. There's not much thinking to it. You're not worried about anything. You're not stressed. You just, like I said, you sprint to the hot spots, you get what you can, and you get out of there. And
I will say, I'll push back a little bit on what he's saying. I'll push back a little bit. The Ark can be pretty merciless. I've had some runs flip upside down on me because a couple of Arks see me and start chasing me. So you certainly have the Ark as a risk and a threat. But it becomes pretty easy to manipulate them when you don't have to worry about other players. I think the Ark as a threat is also magnified because there's other players around. If none of those players could hurt me, it's a lot easier to avoid the Ark and take a wide route or manipulate their aggro or what have you. And then all your loot could be kitted around that, just lure grenades everywhere, right? I will say I still think it'd be awesome if there was some bespoke aspirational PvE content where you go in with like 10 people and it's really, really hard and no one can shoot each other. I think that could be good, but that would be something extra and limited. It wouldn't be the core gameplay loop.
And if you can't sprint fast enough and you get there later than others, you miss out on everything and you gotta reset and, try again. The PvP in Arc Raiders is an important factor. It is needed in a game like this because it keeps the loop refreshing. Every game that you play, you could run the same route again and again and again for 10 games straight. And I guarantee each raid, maybe every other raid, will play completely different than the one you previously just got done with, because you never know what interactions you're going to find. You might find a friendly player who wants to tag along and help you with Arc and, help you with quests. You might find someone who shoots on sight, and that will completely change your course, and you might have to, take a different route or engage and try to fight your way through.
I had a guy snipe me. He sniped me and busted my shield, but he was so far away, I hid, got my shield back, and buddy, I ran in the opposite direction of him. And it added a level of intensity and excitement, and he never got me. I got out, and that's a memorable run. I still remember that run to this day. It created a memory, right? He didn't get me. I got away.
Who knows? You might find someone who's a rat, just hiding and being a nuisance. You might find someone who's going to backstab you. They'll be friendly at first and just betray you later down the road. Those tensions are what add to the overall loop. Finding insane gear in Raid would not feel amazing if it wasn't for the tension of other players. Finding that blueprint you've been waiting weeks for would feel just it wouldn't feel worthless because, yeah, you'll wait weeks to find that blueprint and you're probably excited to use it. But that tension of, oh crap, now I got to get out of here, that's non-existent if you didn't have a PvP element to the game. If all you have to do is find that, like I said, you're just on autopilot, you go to the same spot again and again and again until you finally find what you're looking for, and then you just dip. You don't have any worries about anything else. Yeah, maybe an Arc will chase you down, but I mean...
his footage right there was perfect. He showed how easy it is to manipulate, one of the more threatening Arc. I mean, he just did it right there on the corner.
Let's be real here. Even if the Arcs are ramped up, you can still find ways to stealth around them and avoid them. It doesn't matter. You could take the whole match. You have 30 minutes in Raid, then take the full 30 minutes to stealth around the overpowered Arc if they decide to ramp them up. But you can't do that with players. Players are a random element, an element that isn't controlled, that isn't predictable, that you can't master. Because even with overpowered Arc, if you verse it enough, you will learn how to master it. You will learn how to take them down. You will learn how to avoid them. You'll learn what you need to bring in to take them out. So on and so forth. It's just going to be another day. But players, you never know. Like I said, you might find a friendly. You might find an enemy. You might find a rat. You might find a backstabber. You might find someone just strolling along playing a guitar. Like, you have no clue what's going to happen.
Well, and another element to what he's saying is the highs in a game, I think, are automatically linked to the potential lows. So this is why winning in Battle Royale feels so good, because you can die as soon as you land, right? It's almost like, think of an accordion, right? One side of the accordion can only spread as far because it's linked to the other side. Think about that from a high and a low experience, right? You can only have a high in a game that is almost the inverse and it's equal to the low. So being betrayed, being killed on sight, being ratted, that's a pretty low moment for you. It feels terrible. That adds to the height when you find those friendly players. Like they're related to each other. And if you take away the low, then it's going to shrink that accordion. So the high can only go so high and the low can only go so low. You start to sanitize and neuter the game, and it doesn't feel like it did when you were playing with all the tension and all the risk.
So instead of being able to spend the full 30 minutes, escaping, you have to think of all the random factors. Yeah, you could take the full 30 minutes, but you might find someone extract camping at the very end, Yeah, this extract is ending in 2 minutes, and the other one's ending in 15 minutes. Maybe I should take a little bit of a longer stroll to get to the one that's, ending in 15, because the 2-minute might be a little bit more of a hot spot. Last second, looters trying to escape, and guess what? If they're packed, they're probably not going to take any chances, so it might be more hostile there. Do you guys get what I'm saying here?
Yeah, what he's saying there, too, that I think is important is what it does is it rhythmically injects your gameplay with decision-making, right? This is something I've talked about, how a game where you're repeating your choices super close together, you will feel burnout quicker. It's why arena shooters, it's why you get bored so fast, right? You're kind of rehearsing the same behavior super close together. He just added a whole nother element to how I want to talk about this. It's not just the rate with which you repeat an action. It's how thoughtful or thoughtless that action is. An arena shooter, it becomes thoughtless. You know what choke point to go to. You know what the best spot on the map is. You know where the best sniping angle is, or where you're going to go if you've got your AR. You and your teams are going to go to the same spots, right? So it's not that you're just repeating the same action. It's that there's no thought behind it. Arc Raiders is constantly putting before you this rhythmic decision making of you've got to decide where you're going to go and why, because there's risk involved. It's not rehearsed. You can't do the same thing every time. It's not thoughtless. The minute it becomes thoughtless, it becomes less memorable. The minute it becomes less memorable, you're going to engage with the game less.
Without PvP, the element of surprise and nervousness and just the adrenaline and your heart racing and all of these things would not be a thing in Arc Raiders. Like Helldivers is a perfect example. I enjoy playing Helldivers. Do I play it a lot? No, because I prefer PvP games. And guess what? I'm not going to sit here and say Helldivers is trash because it doesn't have PvP. I respect it for what it is.
That's right.
But in Helldivers, I never feel that way. I never feel that tension. Yeah, you know, my cheeks might clench a little bit if it gets really intense and, you know, massive waves come in and I'm about to die and I, you know, so on and so forth. But it's never like insane tension. If I die, I die. It is what
he's saying here really highlights why the last time I played Helldivers, I just didn't really stick with it because it was cool and it was exciting to be in a new place and have new enemies, but I was bored very, very quickly. Not once have I ever been bored in Arc Raiders. The reason I put Arc Raiders down is because I don't have time to do the grind. I didn't put it down because it was boring. Certainly not. It was never boring. I put down Helldivers because it kind of got boring. I was just kind of like, yeah, I know what to expect. I know what's going to happen. I had tons of fun. I'm not hating on Helldivers. Like, I put 80 hours in. The main reason Arc Raiders, I kind of drifted was because I just don't have time to grind. There's so much that you're supposed to do. It kind of becomes your main game or it doesn't, which I think is totally fine. But the reasons I drifted from these games are completely different. And guess what? Arc Raiders has more potency right now. Like, if I feel the itch, I'm way more likely to go back into this game because of everything he's talking about.
What it is, you know, we lost, it's whatever. I go into Helldivers because I enjoy looking at the spectacles and the insane explosions and the massive waves of enemies and hordes flying around, and, you know, that's what I go into it for. But when I go into Arc Raiders, I go in for the tensions. Right? That's what I'm addicted to. I'm addicted to finding that outstanding loot and then knowing that there's 50,000 different odds for my death lined up while I go from point A to point B, which is the extract. Blaze.
I'm gonna let it stop there. If you guys want to support the original content, he's about to do like his outro. It's J Bowen Deman. It sounds like he goes by JB. Guys, check him out. Check out his video. It'll be linked below. I'll put a link in chat as well. Wheezy saying here, overcoming adversity is ingrained in human nature. Underdog stories are loved for thousands of years because of this. I think that's it. Even if you get out and nobody really challenged you, it's the fact that it might happen that feels like, whew, I got out. That makes the victory all the sweeter. It makes the loot all the better. Yeah, I agree. Good video. I'll put the link in chat for you guys. Let me get the link here. This is a lot easier to share the links now with my new setup because I'm on the same rig that I watch on. So always remember to support the original content that we react to here. Appreciate you guys so much. Make sure you're hitting like. Make sure you're checking your memberships. We're falling a little bit behind pace. I had the goal off for those segments. Check your primes. Check your renewals. Drop some gifteds, whatever. We appreciate the support. Make sure if you're watching on YouTube, you're hitting the like button. Try to get us to 300 likes. We greatly appreciate it. That's my probably my main reason I haven't picked up Arc Raiders. I can't juggle ESO, Battlefield 6, Path of Exile. Yeah, Arc Raiders is a pretty demanding grind. If you really want to extract a lot of the value out of it, you've got to put some time in. You really, really do. And I think that that's fine, but I think that's one of the reasons like I just wasn't able to hang with the game. You know, I wasn't able to hang because I'm just not in a place in my life where I can give a game that much time. I've rolled credits on High on Life, Mario Galaxy 1, Control, and we're 14 days into the year. Like, I'm moving through games because I really, really feel like that's going to add to a lot of the conversations and coverage and my content with you guys. And I'd rather do that, you know, right now than grind Arc Raiders, you know, as good as the game is and as fun as the time I had with it. I genuinely don't have time for Arc Raiders, but that's kind of what I want. I don't want things to be rote and rehearsed. I like the variety. I think that what I came to in reacting to that is really going to add to my dialogue and conversation about this. It's not just the rate at which you repeat an action. It's the level of thoughtfulness in the action. It's why a game with a really good combat system, yes, when I got to my 50th hour in Ghost of Yotei, I was doing something I had been doing for a lot of time, but there's a lot of thoughtfulness that goes into how I approach the camp, how I approach the boss fight. I'm choosing different strategies, weapons, when to parry, when not to parry, when to use range. Like, I'm repeating an action, but there's thoughtfulness behind it. I think that's why the potency of a game like Sekiro is even stronger, because yes, when I fought Ishin, I'm doing something I've been doing the entire playthrough, but there is an immense amount of thoughtfulness behind what I'm doing. It's why button mashers and brawlers and beat-em-ups start to get boring pretty quickly, because you're literally just walking up, hitting A, walking up to them, hitting A, right? Like over and over and over again, and eventually you get bored. I think this is why Cosmic Invasion felt so good. There was a lot of layers, mechanics, combos, special moves, and the like in the brawler. You're not just button mashing through the entire thing. There is some thoughtfulness to Marvel Cosmic Invasion. Probably the best brawler I've played in a while because of that. Yes, I'm repeating the action, but there's thoughtfulness behind the action even when I'm 5 hours in. I think that's a big distinction between, well, this game's repetitious. All games are repetitious. You got to go deeper, I think. That's why Devil May Cry has that secret sauce with the style system and the combat, and so many games fall short. I think it's why Ninja Gaiden 4, people like worship it because of the depth and the thoughtfulness that they have to put behind their combat choices and everything that they're doing, and it's why I tapped out. I was like, yeah, I can't hang with this game. I'm old man status, man. I can't keep up. This is very demanding. I'm not able to keep up. You know, I'm old. I'm that old man status, dude. I can't keep up anymore. You know, it's just the nature of it. Did I have something else? I felt like I had one more thing. Let me make sure I'm not forgetting something else that I wanted to react to. I think I might save this one. Weird Games Are Unforgettable. It's a guy that made a really cool video about Control. I may end up making my own video about Control. Maybe I'll watch his video to get inspired instead. So, same deal as always, guys. I'm going to give you 15 minutes before we go to Green Room if you want to scramble, if you want to get us on pace. If you can get us on pace, you know, I'll extend the stream. We'll keep hanging out, get us on pace, and maybe you can submit some things for me to react to. If not, we'll go to Green Room in 15 minutes. You guys can have a bit of a race here at the end. It's 29 to 18 between YouTube and Twitch. Might take some of the big boys. We need to be at like 300 to be on pace for the week. If not, no worries. We'll head to the Green Room and hang out there in the Discord and kind of figure out what we're going to do for the next day. But 15 minutes is how much time we got left. I'm just checking the news feeds now to see if anything has really happened today. Doesn't seem to be much. Still pretty quiet out here. Tomorrow there is the Resident Evil stream, and that event we will be covering. That's at 5 Eastern in the evening. We do have the PlayStation Plus January catalog has been revealed. A Quiet Place, Resident Evil Village, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Darkest Dungeon, and Expeditions. Whew, boy, that's a solid offering right there, boys. Wow. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth and Resident Evil Village in the same dadgun month. Holy crap. That's not a bad month, boys, if you missed either of those games. Okay, hang on. We got an update on this copyright thing going on with Team Kill Media. Update, YouTube has removed the copyright request, writing to Team Kill Media that they have nothing to copyright in the video. The original live stream is now live to all, and I've taken it off members only. Yeah, this copyright claim was ridiculous. It was they copyright struck a members only stream that they couldn't even frickin' watch. That's unbelievable that they did that. Absolutely unbelievable. Lono going to be the number one Control, Saros, and Returnal content creator? That's right, baby. That's right. That's exactly right. That's what we do here. We cover the weird games. We cover the wild games. Let's see here. Looking through. See if anything had got announced. Still refusing to announce Assassin's Creed Black Flag Remake. Ubisoft randomly uploads 18 songs from the soundtrack to YouTube. Yep. Yeah. We could have an imminent announcement. The imminent announcement of Assassin's Creed Black Flag Remake has been imminent for a while. You know? It's been imminent for a while. Kai Cenat reached the pinnacle of success on Twitch, so instead of simply stagnating at the top, he's improving himself and taking on new challenges, clothing, acting. This is a good thing for him and hopefully serves as inspiration for his audience. Yeah, he's like reading books and like looking up the words that he doesn't know. Like, okay. Saros hype is real. For those who don't know, he came out with a video yesterday announcing that he had quit streaming and was focusing on his new clothing company and acting. He also shared a new YouTube channel where he has been secretly uploading for the last couple of weeks. Going out on top makes a lot of sense for Kai. What more does he need to achieve in streaming? He's been the most viewed, fastest growing, won awards, hit milestones. He's achieved practically all you can achieve on Twitch and done so for weeks and months and years. Ambition and the desire to succeed motivate many of us, but once you achieve it, what's next? On Twitch for Kai, there's nothing more for him to aim for. So it's understandable that he's had creeping self-doubt and spent a lot more time talking about his mental health in recent months. I got a lot of respect for Kai because, like, I totally get why you would be like, well, what am I going to do now? Like, if the draw to watching him and his events was always outdoing the previous event, well, then that means every event has to do that. Every event has to ratchet it up, has to be bigger, better, more successful, more this. And eventually, you ain't going to do it. Like, he knows that. Everybody knows that. Eventually, he's going to have an event that doesn't hit as a high of a high or hit the same numbers, and then all of a sudden, the sideliners and the haters, he fell off, this isn't as good as last time, yeah, he didn't break the record this time. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, hitting 1 million subs in a month, yeah, that's it, dude. I'm out. Like, I'd be done. I'd be like, see you later. You know, you hit that level of success, it's like, well, now you've got just limitless freedom of what you can do. Good for him. You know what I mean? Good for him. Retire on top. He was right to walk. The public was starting to turn on him and send him heel. He saw the mob coming and was like, oh, yeah, gonna go enjoy my money. I kind of like it. You know, I kind of like it. Yeah. I think it's great. I think, I don't know. Tifu says if you're cheating, even your neighbor should get banned. Tifu says if you're actually using cheats, your IP, your hardware, ban everything. I think if you're cheating, your neighbor should get banned too. He's just a random guy that works a 9 to 5. I think he's obviously being satirical maybe because I don't know. Have we found out why he got banned from Arc Raiders? Was it because he was using like the console exploit thing, or was it a misfire? Have we got an update on his ban at all? No one knows, but he got unbanned. Okay. Only thing he had left to prove was that he could fail. Why bother? That's facts right there. That's factual. Like, yep. Why give people the ability to say you fell off or you're washed or any of the other things people say? Like, unsuccessful people are always happy to see somebody not be as successful as they once were, right? We got 8 minutes. We're going to go to Green Room in 8 minutes, y'all. So make sure if you haven't hit like yet on YouTube that you're hitting that like button. Lately we've been going till about 1 o'clock Eastern. That's been kind of the pattern. We get to about a 4 hour long stream. So the streams are a little bit longer than they used to be. Part of that is because we are no longer doing morning coffee. So we appreciate y'all being here and supporting the shows and hanging with us for the length of time. Yeah, Bobby Kotick saying stuff. I didn't really feel like covering it, but he's saying stuff. Mm. 8 days until No Rest for the Wicked Together launches. Co-op's not a feature. It's redefined. No passes, no paywalls. Every realm is yours. Your realm, your crew, your consequences. Watch the trailer below. I don't know if you guys have seen this yet.
Your struggle was your own. Every battle.
Hang on a second. I gotta fix this thing that we're doing here. Okay.
Every scar. Every victory. Yours alone. Now, you will stand together. The Watcher's call has been answered. Welcome to Sacrament.
By the time we breach Sacrament's gates, will anyone be left inside?
The sickness has turned our island against itself.
History has called upon us. And history will remember how we answer.
Yeah, I'm really hopeful for that coming to consoles because I feel like I could play that with Madam. Like, because I think you can turn the difficulty down. Like, I don't think we could hang with it at like the hardest difficulty because we're very casual in our, you know, playing on the couch, just laid back games. Yeah. That looks so good. I played it a long time ago when it was, you know, just first coming out in early access, and I thought it felt excellent. I think it has massive potential. I think people are really liking it. It's from Moon Studios. I love them. Those are the Ori guys. So, all right, guys, if you're not in the Discord, make sure you're in the Discord. Use that Discord command, !Discord, or the Discord link in the description of the video below if you're watching on YouTube. We're going to be going there in just a little bit for the Green Room, which is kind of the end of the day segment where you can keep watching, keep talking, keep vibing. And we'll be looking at the news feeds, figuring out what we're going to talk about tomorrow. Also, don't forget that tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern is the Resident Evil stream. We will be co-streaming that. Keep your eyes on the horizon. We should have an upload this evening, too. We've been doing uploads more regularly, probably on like an every other day basis, maybe every day, weekends especially. We're going to try and have extra content for you guys. You might have missed a segment. I might have recorded something. I might have done something that maybe you weren't here for. So keep your eyes open for that as well. when those videos hit. And you guys jump on them and leave comments. That's super helpful, and we greatly appreciate you guys doing that. Everybody who took part in the poll as well on, what games are you playing most? We appreciate you guys answering and taking part in that. That's just another way of engaging with the community here and providing us with feedback on what you're interested in, what you're playing, and we appreciate it. We should miss that. I've recorded like 8 videos in the past 3 days. Like, if we don't have something tonight, I don't know what we're doing. We can't just be doing only streams. Jiminy Christmas. There's been a lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff to talk about. How do I keep ending up in live streams every time I wake up? You must be leaving autoplay on and you're watching something that's dropping you off here, would be my assumption. That little button at the bottom of the player, like you can pause it or leave it, it'll like just roll you into the next video. So you're probably watching something, drifting off to sleep, and then it's ending and you're rolling over here. So wish I could listen to the stage in Discord from the console. Huh. Hang on, see my last. Okay, Tfue was unbanned. It's possibly because he uses a foot pedal. Do they have a rule in Arc Raiders about using a foot pedal? Lono, your GTA vid showed up on my Google News. Yeah, some guy left a comment and said that. He said, "Who's here from Google News?" It died last night. I don't know what happened. We got kicked off of whatever thing we were running on at like 3 or 4 in the morning when the algo resets. So they must have had us on a rotator or a runner. It was really helping, but then yeah, last night we got kicked off of whatever it was. All right, if you guys are wanting to come with us, type !Discord in the chat. Oh, I'm typing on the wrong keyboard. !Discord in the chat if you want to come with us. Whoops, I can't type. If you are trying to continue listening and you're a member especially, man, get in there. You don't want to miss out on the extra content. That is something, especially if somebody gifted you a member. They're giving you a month of access to our Discord and to extra features and stuff like that. So I had a notification for that stream on YouTube from Gmail last night. Yeah, you should get notice. Sometimes you have to toggle your notification bell on YouTube to all instead of, it'll get switched to like personalized. So always make sure you got that toggled if you're missing streams. That's another great reason to be in the Discord. You won't miss anything. We always ping the Discord when we're going live with something. So thanks so much for being here and supporting today. We'll see you guys either in the Discord right now or we'll see you back here tomorrow. All right, take care.